Live. All right. Stop my jokes then. Can you hear me? Yep. Yeah.
Yeah!
Starting at center, number 53, Joe Fabini.
Woo! Yeah!
Starting at right guard.
All right, you're going to have to cut your mic if he's going to woo-hoo for every...
Starting at right tackle, number 61, Isaac Lehrman. And at left guard, number 62, Vinny Viacable. Starting at tight end tonight for the Saints, number 83, Jack Tipman. At one wide receiver, number 21, Henry O'Keefe. And another wide receiver, number 10, Sam Campbell. Also on a wideout, number 86, Rocco Sioka. Brenton Lytle. And at tailback tonight for the Saints, number 23, K.J. Chipman. The Saints are coached by Jason Garrett.
Good evening, football fans, and welcome to high school football on Redeemer Radio. We are broadcasting live from Bishop Dwenger High School, where tonight the Saints host the Anderson Indians in the Class 5A sectional semifinal. Before we begin, we want to send things down to the sideline with Nick Gray, who's down there with Father David Hunick for a pregame prayer. Nick, take it away.
Well, welcome to the sidelines, everybody. It's a little crisp down here, but warm it up with a prayer. So go ahead, Father.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gifts you have bestowed upon us. We thank you for the gift of our life. We pray that you protect all of our players, all those involved in tonight's game, and bless all of our listeners abundantly, those out in Redeemer Radio land. We ask that you bring peace to our nation and our world through Christ our Lord, amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. All right, let's send it back up to you guys.
That's all the energy we need tonight, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Father. Once again, welcome to Shields Field on the campus of Bishop Dwenger High School. Alongside Corey Kitchen, I'm Eric Pete. Postseason football, Corey, it's finally here. After a bye week, the IHSAA tourney kicks off tonight for classes 5A and 6A, and for the Saints, that means that the quest for a first ever 5A state title starts right here, right now at Shields Field.
Yeah, big night. Get things rolling. The Saints, unfortunately, were a point away in triple overtime from any hardware in the regular season in the SAC conference. So, obviously tonight starts a trek towards some postseason hardware.
That's right, and it's going to start with a matchup against the Anderson Indians. They come into the ball game 2-7 against the 8-1 record of the Bishop Dwenger Saints. And Corey, as you look at this matchup, they've never played in the last 35 years, and on paper, it's about as lopsided as it can be. You know, when you look at Class 5A, there's 33 teams. Bishop Dwenger is ranked number 2 in the state in 5A, and Anderson's number 32 out of 33. So it doesn't get much more lopsided than that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you mentioned it, Eric. The Saints number 2 in the state by the AP poll, the coaches poll, as well as the Sagarin rankings.
Right.
And so you've got the second best in 5A versus the second to last team in 5A. And in fact, according to Sagarin, this is the biggest mismatch in the state of Indiana tonight.
Wow.
As Dwenger is a 70.26 point favorite. Yes, 70 points, again, according to the Sagarin rankings. Now, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. And I'm quite sure Coach Garrett won't allow the Saints to cover that spread.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, on paper, this is the biggest David versus Goliath matchup in the state tonight. Now, we better pause for the national anthem.
Yep. There you go, folks. Corey, as you were saying.
Yeah, now I was going to say, I will say that the Saints are without arguably their most important all-around player tonight.
Right.
In Devin Tittman. He had surgery this afternoon on a broken hand that he suffered in the Northrop game 2 weeks ago. Devin, on defense, 58 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. On offense, 66 carries for 400 yards and 10 touchdowns. He is the leading tackler and the leading rusher for the Saints. So he is a big deal, and he's the engine that makes them go. And we saw in the second half of the Homestead game the difference that made without him.
Absolutely. There's no question that the impact that Devin Tittman has in the ball game, and both those numbers in terms of tackles and rushing yards could be much higher than they are, and only are where they at by virtue of the luxury that Bishop Dwenger has with so many quality linebackers, so many ball carriers that can get the job done.
Yeah, they have that depth that they don't need to stress him on one side of the ball or both. And Devin had surgery today. I talked to his dad, who's a very good friend of mine and a good friend of the program and the best running back coach in Dwenger history in my eyes. And he told me that he had 7 screws and a plate put in his hand today. And clearly home listening and watching on the live stream tonight of the game probably, and hopes to be, for all intents and purposes, back, casted up and ready to go next week in the sectional final if all goes well.
And we would love to see that. So we wish all the best to Devin as he sits at home, and hopefully he'll be back next week. So, Corey, one other way to look at this matchup, especially in terms of tournament play. Bishop Dwenger, as you know, one of the more accomplished programs in the state in terms of tournament success. In fact, they have more appearances in the state title game, that's 10, than Anderson has in postseason wins total, which is 9.
Wow.
So just again, you can look at all these different numbers to display the disparity between these two programs in terms of what they've accomplished. That's to take nothing away from the Indians, but just to explain where these programs are at in terms of what they've done.
Well, there's no greater indicator than just looking down on the sidelines tonight. And the Saints dressed 65 players, and I believe we counted during pregame that Anderson has 24 players dressed. 24.
Well, folks, tonight's game is brought to you by Peter Franklin Jewelers, located in Fort Wayne, Angola, and New Haven. We have the best diamond fashion designs in the area and offer the largest collection of loose diamonds and bridal collections. Come on into Peter Franklin Jewelers and talk with one of our experts today. Both teams taking the field for the ceremonial coin flip. Bishop Dwenger did win the toss. They've deferred to the second half, and they are kicking towards Jesus. How about that, Corey?
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yep. We decided we're no longer going to say kicking away from the scoreboard. We are going to reference the beautiful statue of Jesus that sits at the far end of the stadium and is lit and looks beautiful out there tonight.
It does. It Shields Field here, a great addition to this stadium from a year that opened a year ago and was beautiful in its own right, but that's the icing on the cake for sure.
Yep. When you talk about evangelization, it starts right there. So, Corey, as we get set to go, what are a couple keys you have to this ball game?
Well, for Anderson, their quarterback, Connor Stevenson, has got to play the game of his life, both with his arm and his legs, and they're also going to need, the Anderson Indians are, to force some multiple turnovers, really, to stay in this game. For the Saints, if they can simply keep from turning the ball over repeatedly, I really don't see any way that Anderson stays in this game for very long, Eric.
Yep. I agree with you right there. So Bishop Dwenger is going to be kicking off. They're in their home blue jerseys with gold pants, gold numerals, and the gold helmets. Anderson comes in with their white away jerseys, white pants. They've got red numerals with black trim, red helmets. And Dwenger will be kicking off left to right on your radio dial. There's just something about postseason football.
Yeah, excited to be here and to have gotten to this point,
Yes.
10 games in here, and, the Saints, as I mentioned earlier, have yet to put any hardware on the shelf. This is an awfully good team to not have any hardware on the shelf yet, and tonight starts their journey towards quite a bit of it.
And it's going to start with a Joe Belanda kickoff. Saints, Indians lined up, ready to go here tonight at Shields Field. Belanda makes his approach, puts his boot into it. It's going to be an onside kick, kind of a squib down the middle, and there's a scrum for the football. Saints diving for it. No signal yet from the refs. They're going to have to take this pile apart and find out who's on the bottom.
Still no signal.
Anderson thinks they have it.
And
It looks like they do.
appears they do.
Yep. So after that kickoff, the Indians will start at their own 31-yard line. So fairly good field position to start for the Indians.
Anderson had a wide open kickoff return unit right in the middle of the field that it appeared that the Saints tried to take advantage of, and it was a pretty good kick, maybe just extended a little too far up the field for the Saints to get there and get on it, although it was close. So willing to take a shot on special teams there, and that's something that'll be on film that other teams will need to prepare for later in the tournament.
Usually the underdog's the one trying an onside
how
kick
about
to
that?
start. Here come the Indians. Stevenson in the shotgun. He's going to hand it off and tries the left side, and he's going nowhere, just back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
Just a little isolation run there with their H-back leading the way, and ball carrier on that play was number 24, T.K. Blair, it appeared.
Yep.
And senior, 5'9", 205, and getting the ball. I don't think TK has had many carries for them, so I don't know if, I take that back. 54 carries, 200 yards on the season, and a touchdown, so he does get the ball for them.
They're going to spread things out on 2nd and 10, trips to the near side of the field, now man in motion. And the Saints were indicating a blitz there, might have jumped across the line too soon, or maybe they caused some motion on the offense.
Yeah, the Indians sent receiver in some motion across the field, and the Saints may have gotten a little hasty in jumping across there early.
It is going to be offsides against Bishop Dwenger. They'll march at 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 for the Indians. We mentioned 2-7 on the year, 2-5 in the North Central Conference, which, by the way, same conference as Harrison and West Lafayette, which Bishop Dwenger fans remember from last year's regional round. 2nd and 5, man in motion again for Stevenson. Going to be a jet sweep, and he's going to take it around the far side, turning the corner. He's got first down yardage across the 40 up to the 43-yard line.
I think that was number 8, Curtis Lewis, on the jet sweep, and caught the edge of the Dwenger defense a little bit by surprise there, and the Indians rack up their first down of the night.
That'll move the chains here. 10:36 to go, first quarter, 0-0. Anderson comes out with 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far, and Stevenson in the shotgun.
Stevenson in the shotgun. 3 wide receivers set to his near side.
Awaiting the snap. And here it is. Rolls to the near side, looks to throw, fires this one towards the sideline. It is juggled and no good. Had an open receiver across midfield and actually hit him right in the hands, but unable to pull it down was number 84, Marquise Cullum.
You know, we've been talking about it being Stevenson at the quarterback position, but that was number 9, Marcus Armstrong, that was in at quarterback on that particular play. It's not Connor Stevenson, so I don't know.
Well, he just ran back into the huddle.
15 did?
Yep.
Okay, so they're using multiple quarterbacks here, it appears. Yep, they are. They rolled out with the lefty there, Marcus Armstrong, to the left side, which is interesting. So
yeah,
multiple quarterbacks in use for the Indians tonight.
Stevenson's going to put a man in motion.
So 2nd and 10 now. This time it's going to be handoff through the middle and a big hole. It's going to be close to another first down. I think it is.
27, A.J. Ivy on that little counter play right up the middle, and big yardage for the Anderson Indians.
Yeah, opening drive. They started at the 31. They're already across midfield at the Bishop Dwenger 46-yard line and have a fresh set of downs.
Hate to point out the obvious, but at that particular play, right square up the middle, felt as if we were missing Devin Tippmann.
Yeah, number 25. That's his area to roam. Here's a 1st and 10. 2 receivers to the near side.
Late movement here on the defense.
Stevenson in the shotgun.
Oh, they're coming.
Here's a snap. Rolls to the left again. Now back across the field. Caught at the midfield stripe and plowing through a couple defenders up across the 40-yard line. And again, that is Marcus Armstrong on the throw that time. So
looked like a screen pass to Dylan Fuller, I believe. Is that number 6 that he threw to? It's tough. The numbers are kind of difficult to decipher between 6s and 8s and 9s and so forth, but we're doing our best up here.
Really interesting. It looks like the Indians are just exchanging quarterbacks on every other play between Stevenson and Armstrong.
Running plays in with them.
Sure will be chosen as a broadcast partner.
So that's going to bring up a 2nd and 3 after a gain of 7. Here's a snap. Stevenson in the shotgun's going to hand off through the middle. And, looked like he ran into a brick wall, then spun out of it. And inside the 35 out to the 32-yard line. That's going to be another first down by the Indians.
A.J. Ivy on the carry again, and nothing special about that play. Just an outside zone run that he's able to find some daylight in the middle of that Dwenger defense. So they're going to have to step it up a little bit defensively. Looked like we've opened up in a bit of a fog here to start with.
Yep. 1st and 10 Indians at the Bishop Dwenger 32-yard line.
Stevenson once again.
They're going to spread things out, 2 wideouts to each side. It's going to be Stevenson in the shotgun.
4 wide receivers set.
Again, using plenty of that play clock. And now they take the snap, inside handoff, picking his way through the pile, and good for a gain of a couple on first down is number 45, Jawan Eccles.
Yeah, that time they ran a little power play inside where they pulled the left guard out in front and found a little bit of daylight, but not much on that Saints D.
They're going to call it a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. You know, the Indians this year, turnovers have kind of been the roadblock for them. Their first 2 plays from scrimmage in the season were both turnovers, and that kind of set the tone for the season, especially in their last outing, as we'll talk about that in a bit. trying to keep this game turnover free. Here's a 2nd and 7 rollout. Armstrong tosses it down the sideline. He's got single coverage there. It falls incomplete, but a flag flies inside the 5-yard line, and it looks like they're going to call defensive pass interference on the Saints.
Callan Stauffer was on the coverage back there on that go route, and he caught up late to the receiver and to the ball, but I didn't see a lot of contact there, honestly.
I did not either. That is the call. Of course, the referee on the far sideline had a much better vantage point than we did, but that is going to be a penalty against the Saints, and that is going to be a first down for the Indians. They're going to walk that ball all the way inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, they are moving the football against the Saints D, which is not something we really expected much of tonight.
Right. This is an Indian squad that's only passed for 2 touchdowns this year. They've, on the ground, only averaged 3.3 yards per carry. So nothing flashy, and yet they're getting the job done thus far in the opening drive. 1st and 10, Armstrong at the quarterback position. Nearly gets the Saints to jump offside. Instead, he's going to toss it to the end zone again, and looking to make a back shoulder catch, nearly does, is the receiver. Falls incomplete thanks to some defense out there by Stauffer.
Yeah, really good throw and catch, shouldn't be saying catch because it was not caught, but a really good back shoulder throw. If not for Stauffer being Johnny on the spot out there and getting a hand in, they'd be on the scoreboard.
Yep.
It was a little bit at the beginning of the season, but they've continued to improve. And that's
Saints a little bit shell-shocked right now as the Shields Field faithful has been rather quiet.
Extremely quiet.
Yeah. Right on cue, the cheerleaders pick things up. Maybe that's what we need.
There you go.
Start making some noise. 2nd and 10, Indians. I formation. This time is going to be an inside handoff. Again, the Saints are there to stop the runner. That's Amari Carter.
Yeah, just an isolation run behind their H-back there, and it looked as if, let's see here, Jack Knight in on the tackle. The Saints middle linebackers tonight, Mitchell Vogelweed and Ben Simcox. I think both of those guys are not used to starting. Great opportunity for them to get some playing time here tonight.
Yep. And working alongside John Michael Fabini. So that group, they have some youth, but they have some experience mixed in there too.
7 minutes.
It's going to be 3rd and a long 9 for the Indians. They need the 5-yard line for the first down. Armstrong rolls to his left, fires for the end zone, has a man, and throws a touchdown. Indians punch it into the end zone on their opening drive of the game, and the Saints sideline is shocked.
Yeah, no question about it. They connected with Dontrez Fuller, a freshman, number 10 for the Anderson Indians, freshman Dontrez Fuller, and he's got some playing time for them this year. 16 catches, averages almost 16 yards a catch, and very impressive drive out of the Anderson Indians to start this football game. And they're going to go for 2 here.
They are. Wow. So we saw the Anderson passing game very effective on that drive. Even the passes that were incomplete were right there on the money. 2-point conversion, movement before the snap, and this is going to be offsides against the Saints.
Yeah, just a little bit of a lack of discipline, and which we don't often say of the Saints, and not the start that they were looking for. Maybe it's tough. It's tough for kids to not read the same things that we were reading in the pregame about how big a mismatch this is coming into the game, and until you get into the game with the bullets flying, so to speak, you just don't take it significantly seriously, I guess.
Anderson's going to call a timeout and talk about things before their conversion attempts, so we will step aside as well. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Illumination Solutions is a family-owned and operated business that specializes in LED low-voltage landscapes and holiday lighting for homes and businesses. And now we introduce our new business called The Mosquito Doctor that specializes in mosquito barrier and event spraying. In addition, mosquito misting systems are also available. The phone number is the same for both businesses at 260-489-1000.
Welcome back, folks. Since 1958, Bishop Lewis High School has proclaimed the gospel and excelled at academics, sports, and performing arts. Join us as we thank God for over 60 years of Catholic education. We are back at Shields Field. 6-0 Anderson on top of the Bishop Dwenger Saints is your score. And the Indians break huddle as they prepare to go for two. At least that's what they were planning as they called the timeout. And they do come out with their offense. The ball resting at the 1.5-yard line after the offsides penalty. It's going to be Armstrong in the shotgun, two receivers to the near side. Here's a snap, rolls to his left. Armstrong's going to keep it himself. It gets hit hard at the goal line, and the ball comes out. The Saints recover, and the conversion will be no good. Corey, maybe that's the wake-up call that the Saints needed.
That looked like 47. Ben Simcox came in there and laid a lick. And just past the goal line, and Armstrong's still down on the ground.
Yes.
I'm hoping it's just the wind knocked out of him kind of situation, because it was quite a collision.
Yeah, it was inside the one before the hit came, and I also saw Vinny Fiacable limping off the field, so hopefully he'll be okay to go, but that was quite a hit. The score remains 6-0, so we will step aside. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Follow our Facebook page, Some City Sports. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Services like brakes, wheel alignments, and engineering. The catfish that run the city and area for generations, like their Facebook pages for updated promotions.
Anderson on top of the Saints, and as we await the Indians kickoff, boy, not a lot of times we can say this, that Brendan Lytle and the Saints offense have yet to touch the football, and they're down.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the mismatch, obviously, in the pregame. Now, that's not to say whatsoever that the Anderson Indians might not be well coached. Sure. I don't know if you realize this, Eric. You probably do, because you're my encyclopedia of football. But Jason Garrett's not the only head coach in this game to have won a state championship.
That is true.
Ron Qualls, the head coach of the Anderson Indians back in 2008 with Heritage Christian, won a 2A state championship. So he's been there and done that when it comes to the state tournament.
Very true. I'll take that one step further, Corey. That was their second.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
The year before that, they made it to state as well in 07, and who did they lose to in the 2A title game?
Oh, man. Probably Lures?
Bishop Lures.
Ah. And Taekwon Hammock, Sean McBride tells us.
There you go.
Yes, these guys, I should have known better than to try to stump either one of them, quite frankly.
Here's the Anderson kickoff. It sails out of bounds, so that'll be a flag, and Bishop Dwenger will start with excellent field position. So 6:52, we saw the Indians take off almost half of the first quarter on that drive. They did a great job managing the play clock, letting it run down, doing everything possible to keep this ball out of the hands of the Bishop Dwenger Saints, and it was effective.
No question about it. If you wrote a blueprint to begin this game for the Anderson Indians, that was it.
Yeah.
They executed it to perfection, and now we'll get a chance. They're going to make them re-kick here, but we're going to shortly get a chance to see if their defense is up to the task.
So Jason Garrett and company electing for the re-kick, hoping that they can get a good return that would be beyond where the penalty yardage would place the football. So Anderson will be kicking this one back at the 35-yard line.
Stevens once again, this one will be spotted at the 35, and they'll re-kick it on that illegal procedure. Jason Garrett choosing.
Saints waiting to get this kick off. It'll be the first chance for the offense to take the field.
Here's Stevens.
And here is the kickoff by Anderson. This one is a high kickoff. It is fielded right at the 40. and returned by Colin Vance. He's going to make it up to the 45-yard line. And the decision pays off for the Saints as they get even better field position out of this at their own 45.
Yeah, good job by Colin Vance to move it out there and give them great starting field position offensively for their first series here.
So Brendan Lytle and company. Lytle, a senior, starting his final run at a state tournament. Of course, won state as a sophomore for this Bishop Dwenger team. And the Saints are going to come out in I formation. 2 receivers to the right side, 1 to the left. Here's a snap. Handoff. It's KJ Tippmann through the middle. Big hole as he crosses midfield and gets up to the 45-yard line of the Indians. Picks up 10.5 yards, and that's good for a first down.
Straight ahead isolation run there for KJ, who gets up limping just a bit back to the huddle, but good start for that Bishop Dwenger Saints offense with a first down on their first play.
Yep, after that timeout, you got the feeling that
Sam Campbell in at quarterback.
Yeah, here we go. We've seen him in the Wildcat formation before. Now Lytle comes in motion, Sioka in motion, and a whole host of
These are
Saints start
shifts,
moving.
actually, shifts.
Yes.
That didn't go well because the Saints are calling timeout.
So they'll stop to talk about things here in the first quarter. 6-0 Anderson is your score. We'll step aside. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Does debt have you down? Are you worried about your credit cards, your mortgage, or keeping your car? Notre Dame Federal Credit Union can help. Our people are trained to be financial physicians. They can give you a checkup, help you to heal, and stay healthy. Don't be embarrassed. It's why we exist. When your body is sick, you go see a doctor. When your finances are sick, you go see the friendly folks at Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. You already share our values. Why not share in our benefits?
Back at Shields Field, 6-0 your score. Anderson on top of Bishop Dwenger as the Saints are getting set to break huddle. They're on their first offensive drive of the game. They have a 1st and 10 at the Indian 45-yard line. So out of their first timeout, Lytle comes out, and it looks like he will come back and line up at quarterback. They might want to abandon all those shifts.
Tommy Whitty is in at fullback tonight for the Saints. Nice opportunity for the junior.
Lytle looking over to the sideline for some last-minute instructions as the Saints are set in I formation. Here's the snap. It is Gavin Groves with the carry. He is going to get about 2 yards, and that's it.
Little blast play by the Saints off the left edge, and we've got another Anderson player down. That's 45 for them, Juwan Eccles, who is pretty important to what they do. He's their leading tackler, 65 tackles, 6 sacks on the year, so they certainly don't want to see Juwan hurt. He's jogging off only because they're making him take a play off, and he'll be right back, it appears.
Right. Yeah, but when you look at these sidelines, if there's one team that cannot afford to lose bodies, it's the Indians.
No question about it.
2nd and 8. It's going to be a I formation again for the Saints.
Tommy Whitty with Gavin Groves behind him.
Lytle again looking for instructions on the sideline, now barking out to his offensive line. Here's a snap, handoff Gavin Groves again, this time around the left side, looking for the edge across the 40, cuts back inside the 35 and down to the 31-yard line, and that's a pickup of 12 yards, good for a Bishop Dwenger first down.
Another ISO play off the left tackle that Groves just bounced it outside because he saw daylight. Great vision there by Gavin Groves.
1st and 10 Saints. I like what the Saints are doing, coming out with a running game, being patient and not panicking as they find themselves in an early hole. 1st and 10, Lytle back in the shotgun, 2 receivers to the right side. Lytle rolls in that direction, looking to throw, fires this one down the sideline. O'Keefe is there, and through his fingertips in the end zone. O'Keefe would have had a touchdown, but it falls incomplete.
Yeah, quite honestly, coming out of his break there, it appeared that Henry just kind of slowed down out of his route. I don't know. He was on a corner route and came out of the route just not quite as quickly as Mr. Lytle expected. I thought the throw was on the money. I thought the route needed to be a little bit sharper.
That'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Saints at the Anderson 31-yard line. And this time trips to the near side for Lytle in the shotgun. Here's a snap again, rolling to his right, looking to throw. He's going to double back to his left this time, buying time. There's going to be a flag on the field, and he finally does get rid of this football, throws it incomplete.
And they're going to call 57 Ben Tittman with a little block in the backfield there, and it was pretty obvious right in front of the white hat.
Yep. That is the challenge when you have a quarterback like Lytle who likes to roll all over the place looking for daylight.
Yeah, you better have your head on a swivel if you're playing offensive line for him, because he's just as, even if he's rolling out to the right, he's just as likely to come back left, and you better stay with your block.
Yep.
Ben did not on that one and tried to get a little shove there in right in front of the white hat, unfortunately, which you're not going to get away with very often.
So that is a 15-yard penalty back to the 50-yard line.
Huge penalty.
Or maybe they did that 10 yards from the spot of the foul, I think.
I think you're exactly right.
Yep.
29 to be exact.
So 3 receivers out to the near side. That's the right side of the formation. Lytle in the shotgun. Again rolls to his right, pitches it on the option. KJ Tittman's going to cut back inside across the 45 up to the 42-yard line as he picks up 8 yards on 2nd down.
Little speed option there from Lytle to KJ Tittman, and good gain on the play, although they're still in a very deep hole.
Yeah, yes they are. It's going to be 3rd and 20. They're on the 42-yard line. They need to get down to the 22 for a 1st down. Probably 2-down territory, though, I would imagine, as long as they can pick something up here on 3rd down.
Yeah, if they can pick up, nearly half the yardage or so, I think you're exactly right.
They'll spread things out with trips to the far side this time. Lytle looks to throw. He's got time, fires it down the middle of the field. Got an open man. It's O'Keefe. This time O'Keefe pulls it in inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, Saints.
That was a fantastic catch. Quite frankly, I thought he stuck with the wrong receiver. He had Sam Campbell open at the sticks on the out route to the far side, and he'll see that on film when he goes back over it tomorrow morning with Coach Dixon, I'm sure, who will point that out to him. But he was fixed on Henry O'Keefe and was able to complete it down the middle. So nice play for the Saints, and to pick up a 1st down on 3rd and 20 is...
3rd and 20, they picked up 36.
That's something.
So first and goal on the 6-yard line as the Saints come out in the power I formation. Lytle under center, handing off to Groves, looking for the right side, cuts it inside and dives all the way down to about the 1-yard line.
Just the standard Bishop Dwenger blast play behind that power I formation, but freshman Dontrez Fuller gets in there and wraps him up for the tackle to save the touchdown.
One of the things that we saw out of the Saints in their last outing against Northrop was a great balance of running and passing. And that's what they've come out with on this opening drive. I formation once again for Lytle under center. 2nd and goal from inside the 2-yard line. Groves through the middle, follows his blockers through the hole, and he's in the end zone for a Bishop Dwenger touchdown.
Last play was blast to the right. This play was blast to the left, and we've got a Saints touchdown for Gavin Groves.
Bishop Dwenger answers the Indians' opening drive for a score. They've knotted things up at 6. And Joe Belanda out there to try to give the Saints a 1-point lead. And Corey, I think just an outstanding job by the Dwenger coaches, keeping everyone calm, cool, and collected on the sideline there after that touchdown.
They may have appeared that way, but I bet they got their team's attention after that Anderson timeout.
The PAT is good. Your score, Bishop Dwenger 7, Anderson 6. Here in the first quarter, exactly 3 minutes to go in the opening stanza. We'll step aside. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
I love this house.
Me too, but our closets are too small and everything is a mess.
I agree. Is there someone we can call to help?
Remember when John and Shelley Ross of Closet Concepts redesigned the pantry in our old house? They can customize closets too.
Maybe they could also install a storage system in our garage.
I'm sure they can. Closet Concepts has been in business for more than 30 years. They can do it all.
Closet Concepts serves the Fort Wayne and Indianapolis areas. Call 483-6763 for a free closet design quote.
Welcome back to Shields Field. Let's check in with Nick Gray on the sideline with some updates. Nick?
Well, guys, Carroll went out to Warsaw tonight, and they're leading that matchup 7-0. Snyder's over at Homestead. Snyder's leading that 10-0. Whoa. Corey, Eastside, Prairie Heights. Eastside's up 14-0. Northwood and Leo are tied at 6. Concordia's at Oak Hill, and they're leading that game 7-0. Remember, Bishop Lewis, will give you an update on them soon. They don't start until 7:30, so we'll keep an eye on that. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Nick. Early signs of life from the Panthers. How about that?
Yeah, that's a shocker.
We'll be sure to keep an eye on that one as Belanda kicks this one away. It's a short kick bouncing at the 11-yard line and then picked up on the return. Here come the Indians. Across the 20-yard line goes Curtis Lewis, and they're going to mark him down at the 22.
Yeah, good job by the Saints special teams on that one. Kicked off deep and got them just beyond the 20-yard line, and so they're going to have 78 yards to score if they want to do it again this time.
Well, we talked about the Bishop Dwenger coaching staff settling down the Saints after that drive. I'm really interested to see how the Anderson coaching staff handles the early score here and what we see out of this Indian offense on the second drive.
Well, you know, we've had 2 series, one by each team, and we've got 2:52 left in the first quarter. I mean,
yeah.
Amazing how quickly this game has gone.
Here we go on 1st and 10 for the Indians. It's Stevenson, inside handoff across the 20-yard line and thrown down near the 25 is the ball carrier. That looked like number 24, T.K. Blair.
Yeah, it looked like Ashton Scary, the big sophomore defensive lineman, in there on that tackle for a gain, as you mentioned, Eric, of just a couple.
2nd and 7 for the Indians. And you said it, Corey, this first quarter is flying by as we tick down to 2:21 to go. And I think that's the way Anderson would prefer to keep it.
Yeah, shorten this game. That's the name of the game for them tonight.
Second down play, it's going to be a pitch on the right side and running around the edge, cutting back inside, and again, first down yardage for A.J. Ivy.
Yeah, that's a nice toss sweep run for the Anderson Indians to move the chains there.
So a fresh set of downs for the Indians. Been really impressed by the way they've come out, and they have not been
intimidated.
Yes,
that's the word I was going to use. Yeah, there's no intimidation whatsoever walking into the home of the number 2 ranked team in 5A. They have just gone about their business very bubusinesslike.
Yep. And that is a quality that starts with the head coach.
It does.
I truly believe that. Hats off to Coach Quall, and this coaching staff. Here is a first down play, another inside handoff, and again, this one's good for about 2 yards up to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, John Michael Fabini in there on the tackle of A.J. Ivy right up the middle for the Indians, and as you said, just picked up a couple.
This Anderson squad started the year 0-6. Then they won 2 in a row, 2 close wins over Indianapolis Tech and Richmond before ending their season with a loss at Logansport. So they know all about facing adversity and being able to bounce back. We'll see how that plays out tonight as they spread things out on 2nd and 8. 2 receivers to each side. Here is Stevenson in the shotgun. Looks to throw, and a whistle before the snap. It's going to be a false start against the Indians.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing they haven't had really thus far in this game. I don't know that we've had an Indians penalty so far, but that's the kind of thing they can't afford if they're going to stay in it for very long.
Right. So that's going to march things back to the 30-yard line. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 13 as we have 38 seconds left in this opening quarter.
Very well against this Dwenger defense. Stevenson still in at quarterback.
It's going to be Stevenson in the shotgun with 2 receivers out to each side. As Stevenson surveys the defense, takes the snap, quick throw over to the far sideline, cutting back inside, trying to spin for extra yardage, and finally taken down after a short gain on the far sideline.
Yeah, couldn't pick up the number way across the field there. Looked like maybe Curtis Lewis, number 8.
Yeah, I believe so.
For the Indians, and Callan Stauffer picked him up very quickly on that play to avoid much of a gain.
And just like that, a lightning quick first quarter is in the books. Your score after 1, Bishop Dwenger 7, Anderson 6. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Bigger than any box score, local sports are a victory for the entire community. Building up leaders, breaking down barriers, connecting generations, teaching integrity, blazing a trail, sparking.
We can do a minute here.
That's why Meyer sponsors hundreds of local sports teams throughout the Midwest. From Little League to the big leagues, uniforms to stadiums, Meyer knows when we support the home team.
Here at St. Joe Tree Farm, we want to celebrate the Christmas season with you and have fun while we stay safe on the farm. This season, social distancing will be in place and masks will be required to keep our customers and employees healthy. Our gift shop will open Fridays and Saturdays in October. Make plans to bring your kids to choose their favorite ornament. Our tree sales begin in November. Watch our website, stjoetreefarm.com, for more information. St. Joe Tree Farm offers good luck to the players tonight as well as the fans listening. Let's make this a blessed Christmas season. Together, we can do this.
Welcome back to Shields Field. Locally and family-owned for 35 years, Tim Didier Meats has built a reputation for fresh, custom meat orders. If you'd like that special cut of beef for your next gathering, Tim Didier Meats can help. Prime rib, filet mignon, and Tim's own special ground beef, made fresh daily, can be ordered within an hour's notice. To place your order, call 260-482-8400 or find them on the web at timdidiermeats.com. An early test for the Anderson offense here as they face a 3rd and 11 at their own 32-yard line. This is their first time facing a 3rd and long. They really did not have any of a hard time playing behind the sticks in their opening drive. Stevenson is going to be in the shotgun, 2 receivers to the far side. Stevenson unloads down the middle of the field and nobody home. That's going to be an incomplete pass and force a 4th down punting situation.
Looked like a little bit of miscommunication between the quarterback Stevenson and his intended receiver Dontrez Fuller. They looked as if he was expecting Fuller to run that seam route right down the hash marks, and Fuller stopped his route and turned it into a little quick hitch. So a little bit of a miscommunication there, unfortunate for them, and they're into punt.
4th and 11 punting situation. Sam Campbell is deep to field this punt. It's going to be Dontrez Fuller to pump this one away. Saints bring the heat. Looks like they deflected that ball. It's going to bounce just to the midfield stripe, and that's about it.
39, John Michael Fabini may have gotten a paw on that, and the Saints are going to have great starting field position once again.
Fabini getting plenty of high fives on the sideline. I'd say it's a safe bet, Corey.
Yeah. Yep. If he didn't get a touch on it, at the very least, he forced a poor punt, and that's what you're looking for out of your special teams unit. And a defensive starter in on that punt block team is saying something as well. Good job by John Michael Fabini there with that kind of effort.
Yep, taking advantage of that opportunity on special teams, and the Saints have a 1st and 10 at their own 49-yard line as they look to add to their 1-point lead here in the early 2nd quarter. Lytle's going to be under center, I formation for the Saints. Here's a snap, hands off, and Groves tiptoes his way through the line, and that's going to be good for a gain of 4 yards on 1st down. No, actually, KJ Tittman on the carry.
Yeah, KJ 23 in there, and just a little ISO play right up the middle, picked up about 3 or 4.
Nice little sportsmanship there.
2nd and 6. Saints quickly back up to the line. Still 23 seconds on the play clock.
Sam Campbell at quarterback.
Yep.
Put my receivers at the far
Campbell now moving Lytle in motion. Here's those shifts we saw earlier.
shift everybody out.
And they'll all come over to the left side. Now Tittman, Jack Tittman, over. And it's going to be a pass out into the flats for KJ Tittman. He's going to put his head down across the 40-yard line and makes it down to the 36. Nice gain, a lot of hoopla on that one for a gain.
Yeah, what you're trying to do there with all that shifting, there were 6 or 7 shifts there, is to try to outflank your opponent. They're trying to put more guys out there than they put defenders out to cover them.
Yeah.
And then they throw that quick screen with more blockers than defenders out in front. That's the goal of it, and it worked well enough to get a first down.
Yep. 1st and 10, I formation. Lytle's going to fake the handoff, roll to his right, tosses this one down the sideline into single coverage, looking for O'Keefe, and that one just a little bit overthrown by Lytle.
Yeah, and earlier I gave Henry a little bit of trouble there for his route, but that one we'll put on Brendan. He had Henry wide open on that route initially and was unable to connect with him.
Yep, and if you know anything about young Mr. O'Keefe, he's a speedster. He had a good couple steps on his defender there, and single coverage as well. So
yeah, I liked the play design. They had him on a little wheel route there, and he was wide open. They just didn't execute.
2nd and 10 Saints. They lead 7-6 with 10:44 to go in the second quarter. Lytle's going to keep this one on an option, and he's going to run inside about the 30-yard line, picking up 7 yards.
Yeah, nice ground gain for Brendan Lytle there on the speed option play. Picked up, as you mentioned, about 6 yards. Kind of faked the pitch and kept it himself, which he doesn't do that very often, but that's a nice gain.
Actually had a fumble against Northrop in a very similar run.
Yes.
That time able to hold on to the football. 3rd and a short 4 yards for the Saints. They'll go trips to the near side for Lytle in the shotgun. Here's a snap, looking to throw, looks to his left, looking and firing for the end zone. There is O'Keefe again, and again cannot quite get to the ball. Actually, Sam Campbell that time.
Yeah, once again, I think Brendan's taken the deep route maybe a little too often here in the Saints offense. He's got the first down on that play to an out route that's open, and he's not checking it down. And I'm sure in film review tomorrow morning with offensive coordinator Brody Dixon, they'll have a little discussion about that.
Yeah, sometimes when you want to get a lead, you try to go for that home run ball too soon and too quickly.
Everybody loves to throw the bomb, but sometimes you just got to move the chains.
They're going to try to do that here on this play. 4th and 4 for the Saints. Here is Lytle looking to throw. He's got edge pressure. He's going to roll to his left, looking to throw. Fires it. Has Sam Campbell open down the sideline. He's going to step out of bounds inside the 15-yard line, and a first down for the Saints.
And there was a great, we'll give him a hard time on the last play, and we'll throw some praise his way on this one. This time he took that check down route and was able to pick up the first down. So maybe that was his plan all along. He knew he had 4th down to check it down if he needed.
Kind of like using the run to set up the pass. He used the deep pass to set up the short pass.
There you go. He's a mad scientist.
Ball inside the 15 at the 14-yard line. 1st and 10 Saints. Spread formation with 2 receivers to each side. Lytle taking the snap, looking to throw once again. Fires this one across the middle into the end zone, and a perfectly placed ball for Henry O'Keefe. Good for 6 points for the Saints.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Eric. He was pretty well covered on that seam route right down the middle, and Lytle put that ball where his guy could get it and nobody else could in the back of the end zone. Just an outstanding throw.
13-6 as Lytle throws for a touchdown, his first touchdown pass of the night. And we continue to see the Saints excelling on both the ground and through the air. Joe Belanda will try to make this an 8-point Bishop Dwenger lead with a 9:47 to go until the halftime break. Snap is down, kick is up, it is good, and your score 14-6, Bishop Dwenger on top of Anderson. We'll step aside. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
At the University of St. Francis, you'll find a home away from home built on Catholic and Franciscan traditions. We're ready to walk beside you as you navigate your higher education career, and we'll help you find scholarships and financial aid options to take the stress out of paying for college. We look forward to meeting you soon. Call 260-399-8000 to schedule a visit today. Learn more about how you can build your future at sf.edu. You belong here.
Welcome back to Shields Field, 14-6. The Saints have responded after the opening drive by the Indians gave the visitors an early 6-0 lead. It has been the Saints putting 2 touchdowns on the board to go up 14-6, and they appear to be settling down on both sides of the football.
Yeah, they do. No doubt about that. And, you would assume that, the depth and the experience and the talent of the Saints would take over eventually, and it appears that maybe that's starting to happen here.
Do you think part of it is the bye week? What does that do to the psyche of the player?
It's for both teams, so you hate to. But I never liked the bye from a coaching standpoint, other than to heal up from injuries. Because as an offensive coordinator, I hated it because it always seemed like it took us out of rhythm.
Yeah, it's all about rhythm. It is. Here's the kickoff from Belanda. Again, a short kickoff fielded beautifully at the 14-yard line with a full head of steam, and Indians return that all the way to the 36-yard line. So great return there.
Yeah, one of the better returns we've seen against the Saints kickoff team this year, quite honestly, out over the 35. Todd Ellinger is the special teams coach for the Saints and just does an outstanding job.
Yeah. It's been one of the strengths of this team for years. And more than one occasion, it has made the difference in a ball game.
No doubt about it. We are always good on special teams, and you're right. That third phase is often overlooked.
1st and 10 Indians. Connor Stevenson, the junior quarterback, in the shotgun position, takes a snap. He's going to pitch it out on the right side, and plowing through a defender is A.J. Ivey as he picks up about 1 yard, but that one's still worthy of some kudos for the way he just ran through a defender.
It appeared he was going to be, brought down for a loss of a yard or two on that play, and he just steamrolled a couple of defensive players from the Saints there. So nice, about as pretty a 1 yard run as you'll ever see.
2nd and 9. Anderson trying to stay within striking distance early in this second quarter. Stevenson takes a snap, looks to the far side, has a slant route. Is going to be incomplete. Looks like the defense might have got there early.
I was just going to say, Adam Lee's pretty lucky that no flags are flying there. I thought the same thing. It was really close. It was a bang-bang situation, but I agree with you, Eric. I thought he was there early.
Nevertheless, an incomplete pass. That'll bring up a 3rd and 9. So, again, another 3rd and long for the Indians, something they stayed away from in the opening drive. They were unable to overcome it on their second drive, and they face a similar 3rd and 9 here with 8:55 to go in the first half.
Yeah, they do not want to get consistently into 3rd and long.
It's going to be Marcus Armstrong lining up at quarterback, and they're going to take a timeout here. We will step aside as well. You are listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Hello, I'm Tom Steele with Tom Steele Tire and Auto Repair, a family-owned business for over 35 years. We carry all major brands of new tires as well as a large selection of quality used tires to save you money. We do all types of auto repairs, be it brakes, alignment, or just fix your air conditioning. Tom Steele Tire. Give us a try. You'll be glad you did.
Back at Shields Field, 3rd and 9 upcoming for the Anderson Indians. You know, they're not a team that is a big play capability team very often. They had in their last game a 38-8 loss against Logansport. Their only score came on a 75-yard scoring strike from Connor Stevenson to Curtis Lewis. Other than that, they only mustered 13 other passing yards in that game.
Well, they're not a high-flying offense in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they come into tonight 85 yards a game passing, 76 yards a game rushing. That's 161 total yards a game is all that they average. The Saints average nearly twice that.
3rd and 9. Armstrong remains in at the quarterback position as they put 2 receivers to the far side and 1 to the near. Awaiting the snap. Again, they're going to use this play clock. And takes a snap. Armstrong to throw. He's got some pressure. Fires it down the sideline. It is deep and overthrown. Incomplete pass.
Intended for Dontrez Fuller down that seam like they tried on the last 3rd down where there was miscommunication, but this one was just simply thrown well out in front of him and sort of down the middle of the field rather than down the hash mark. So they'll be forced to punt again.
Maybe the biggest snub of the all-conference team.
4th and 9 punting situation. Campbell again back deep to receive this one.
Shy of the Bishop Dwenger record as well. Look at the punt, it'll be the freshman back.
8:49 to go in this first half as Dontrez Fuller lines up in the punting formation. Here's a snap. Kicks it away, barely gets this one away, and it is a beautiful high punt fielded by Campbell. Makes 2 men miss and is down the left sideline now, looking for some room inside the 40, 35, 30, and that's where he is ushered out of bounds at exactly the 30-yard line as Campbell shows off some speed and some nice moves on that return.
Great special teams play by the Saints punt return team on both ends of the play. At the beginning of the play, you had John Michael Fabini almost making another block or deflection. The punter gets a great punt off, and then Sam Campbell finds a lane down out of the left side of the field and gives it back to the Saints offense again with great field position at the 30-yard line of the Indians.
So here come the Saints yet again on offense. Lytle is in the shotgun, 2 receivers to each side. KJ Tittman with him in the backfield. He's going to roll to his right, fires this one into the end zone, and wide open is O'Keefe, and deflected at the last second. And again, I think he threw to the wrong receiver.
He did. He's missing his reads quite a bit tonight, quite frankly. I mean, the Coach Dixon's going to watch that with him tomorrow on film and just go nuts. I mean, he had Sam Campbell wide open on the corner route, and instead he went to O'Keefe on the post route, who was covered.
Somewhat uncharacteristic of Mr. Lytle. He's really come a long way in that area.
He has, but he has a tendency to get locked on to one guy and not read it.
Yeah. 2nd and 10 Saints. Lytle's going to roll to the right this time. Again, fires it deep. This time he does go to the corner route to Campbell, and it is a perfectly placed ball. And Corey, thanks for calling that play down from up here in the booth.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it just, we didn't get it right on the last one. Let's try it again.
Touchdown Saints. Campbell was covered that time, but the ball was right where it had to be, and it was good for 6 points.
Little double move.
That's the luxury of playing a team that is not quite at your caliber. But Corey, I think a lot of these missed reads are things that, as you mentioned, the coaching staff is going to make a big deal out of, because down the road those things cannot happen.
If and when they get into a ball game that's tight, they're going to need him to make better decisions than he's made tonight.
Yep, no question. Belanda puts that one through. It's going to be 21-6 Saints with 8:25 to go in the second quarter. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Check out Ellarding Honda Kawasaki Motorsports in our 55th year. Over 200 new and pre-loved cycles, scooters, ATVs, jet skis, and multi-purpose utility vehicles that tow, haul, and seat up to 6. Trailers, accessories, gear, and repair service. The 2021s are here. Get huge factory incentives and special rates if you qualify. It's like riding for free. Ellarding Motorsports, doing business since 1965 off Coliseum on State Road 930 in New Haven.
Welcome back, folks. Did you know that Notre Dame Federal Credit Union is the largest Catholic credit union in the United States? Notre Dame FCU has served over 800 Catholic entities in over 25 dioceses nationwide. These include colleges, parishes, schools, food pantries, homeless shelters, and Catholic radio stations, including Redeemer Radio. Member-owned, not-for-profit banking is the way to go. You already share our values. Why not share in our benefits? That's Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. 21-6 is your score. The Saints on top and rolling on offense, and about to kick things away back to the Indians. Belanda makes his approach, and this one is again inside the 10-yard line to the 9. That's where the Indians return this. They're going to cut towards the middle of the field and make it back just across the 20-yard line. Dontrez Fuller on the return for the Anderson Indians. Nice-looking freshman there.
Look like 49 Michael Finley with the tackle on the kickoff team. We haven't had a chance to praise Michael, the senior, much this season, but great job on his kickoff coverage there.
So 1st and 10 Indians. They start this drive at their own 22-yard line. Anderson only averaging 10 points a game on the season. They're going to need a lot more than that tonight if they want to stay in this ball game. Man in motion, they're going to flip it to him on the jet sweep, coming to the near side of the field, and a beautiful tackle there by John Michael Fabini as he blows that one up for a loss of 5.
And quite honestly, he fought his way probably through an illegal block or a hold to get there. So I think the hold actually was the opponent was holding him, and he fought that off and still made the stick for a loss. So we'll see if they accept the penalty or they may decline.
I would think they decline it.
Well, they may force them back deep into their own territory as well. I think Coach Garrett's asking his defensive coordinator, Dan Nepper, what he thinks about it, and it appears they're going to wave it off and decline.
That they are. Holding on Anderson declined, and that's going to result in not only a loss of 6, but the loss of the down as well. I think that's a big factor.
Watch him shed. Right there. Watch him shed this.
So 2nd and long for the Indians.
That's not a next level play. I don't know what is, kids. My goodness.
Connor Stevenson at the quarterback position in the shotgun. 4 receivers set, 2 to each side. Now Armstrong comes in motion behind the quarterback. They'll pitch it back to him. Now he puts it into the air, and that one's up for grabs. Callan Stauffer nearly picks it off, and it falls incomplete at the 40-yard line.
I was going to say, in my film study, I hadn't seen that orbit motion before back behind the quarterback like that, that the Indians just ran, and there's a reason for that because it was a trick play.
Well, it appears that Armstrong is, I don't want to make this sound too bad, but he's got the stronger arm of the 2 quarterbacks, and he's been the deep threat quarterback.
His arm is strong, yes. I follow where you were headed there.
Yeah.
That was well said, yes.
When I started making that statement, I had no intention of making a pun. It just ended out happening that way.
Oh, the ways we amuse ourselves.
Yeah. And a 3rd and long play this time. It's a dangerous pass across the middle, and that's going to be hit out of bounds after a short gain at the 24-yard line.
Interesting decision-making there on a little short play action 5-yard out route on 3rd and 15. So, they picked up 7 or 8, but not nearly enough to attempt a 4th down play, so they'll be forced to punt again, and they may want to get their eyes on John Michael Fabini on this one.
Well, between him and Sam Campbell at returner, pick your poison.
Pick your poison, well said. Henry O'Keefe back this time as well as Sam Campbell, so a double-barreled return.
Fabini doesn't get there this time, but the punt is a line drive. It's going to set up for O'Keefe, and unable to shed the first tackler. That would have sprung him.
Nice tackle. But Chris McKellar, defensive back for the Anderson Indians, number 26 down there. And good thing he made the tackle, or else it appeared there was a lot of real estate available for Mr. O'Keefe.
But even so, the Saints start on the Anderson side of the football field at the 46.
That's been a broken record all season long, quite honestly. Between special teams and defense, the Saints I'd like to be the offensive coordinator that starts every time in your opponent's half of the field, you know?
Well, the defense setting the offense up for success. The only negative there is that sometimes the offense scores so quickly that they don't give the defense a lot of rest.
They don't get a breath.
Yeah, look what we did for you. Why don't you help us out here a bit? 1st and 10, Saints. Lytle in the shotgun. A 4-receiver set to the near side. Lytle's going to keep it himself and tiptoes his way through the line. Inside the 30, the 25, cuts back inside to the 20, and Lytle goes down there at the 20-yard line.
It's a little quarterback counter play with the tight end, Jack Tippmann, pulling out in front, but Brendan went so quickly he didn't let Jack out in front. I mean, it was a huge gain nonetheless without a lead blocker, but he needs to pause that just for a split second longer to let his lead blocker get out in front.
I think he saw the hole in front of him, got too excited.
He did.
Picked up 25 yards on the carry, did Mr. Lytle. And now a 1st and 10 on the 20. Saints offense continues to flex its muscles against this Anderson defense. 2 receivers split to each side for Lytle in the shotgun. Takes a snap, looks to throw, has all day, fires to the sideline. O'Keefe trying to sidestep a defender. Instead, again, a nice tackle there as he ushers O'Keefe out of bounds inside the 20.
Yeah, much better decision on the part of Brendan Lytle there. He had a receiver deep as well as one short. The deep one was covered, so he checked it down, took what the defense gave him, and the Saints pick up a few yards on the first down play.
Yep, gain of 2. Marquise Cullum on the tackle as he kept O'Keefe bottled up, which is no easy task. O'Keefe in motion now. Here is Lytle. He's going to roll to his right. Got a lot of receivers over there. Fires to the end zone. Sioka is in the back of the end zone. There was a bit of contact there, but incomplete. And I think I know what you're going to say, Corey.
Yeah, he had his receiver in motion was on the flat route.
Yep.
That was Henry O'Keefe. And he was wide open, but instead, Brendan went for the jugular throw down the field and threw it incomplete. He just he gets so excited to take those deep throws that he often comes off an open receiver to do it.
Yeah. Are you surprised at how much the Saints have gone to the air here?
Oh, not necessarily. When you get into a game like this against an inferior opponent, if you don't do it early, you won't get to do it at all.
Right. Good point.
And you need to, from a passing game, we're back to that rhythm discussion.
3rd and 7, big hole for Lytle this time around the right sideline, inside the 10 to the 5, dives for the pylon. Is he in?
Yes, he is.
He is. Touchdown Saints on an 18-yard scamper by the quarterback, Brendan Lytle.
Great effort run at the end there where he dove for the pylon. It was almost a la Michael Penix of the Indiana Hoosiers against the Penn State Nittany Lions last Saturday, where he dove in there with the ball and picked off a piece of the pylon to score the touchdown.
I completely understand the comparison, but I don't think you can compare much to Penix on that extension. Was just flat out nuts.
It's 27-6. I'm doing what I can here to amuse myself, Eric.
Well, as long as you're amused.
Yes.
Belanda knocks this one through, and 28-6 is your score with 6:36 to go in the second quarter. We'll step aside. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Is a financial advisor who understands your Christian values important to you? Reinbold & Anderson, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, offers financial planning that respects Christian principles. Call Reinbold & Anderson at 260-432-3235. Offices at 5750 Coventry Lane, Suite 110, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Ameriprise Financial provides financial services without regard to religious affiliation or cultural background. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, a registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to Shields Field, 28-6. This was a game that the Saints led by 1 point after the first quarter of play. They've tacked on 3 touchdowns here in the second stanza as they've really hit the ground running. And their offense has taken off. Their defense, I don't think they've allowed a first down after that opening drive by Anderson.
I think you're right. They've been putting the Anderson offense in a lot of third and long situations, and that's kind of a recipe for disaster for them.
Saints leading here in sectional opener action, semifinal action in 5A. Of course, if they hold on and advance in this game, they would face the winner of Northrop and Northside playing tonight. We'll try to get a score on that game as we look ahead to next week. But first is taking care of business this week at Shields Field. Belanda kicks this one away. High kick fielded at the 16-yard line. And Cullum is going to try to get to the outside here, will not be able to. He's going to return it to the 26-yard line. That's where the Indians will start this drive.
Another good job by the Saints special teams. Looked like Cole Carey maybe down there on the kickoff team tackle. And again, a long field to go for Anderson.
We talk about that second, or the other side of the sectional bracket rather, Northrop and Northside. Interested to see what happens there after the game they played in the regular season, with Northrop coming on top by 1, stopping a late Northside 2-point conversion attempt. Here's a first down handoff through the middle and does not get anywhere, stopped at the line of scrimmage. And it looks like Jack Knight was in on that stop.
Yep, Jack Knight, and maybe, let's see, Mr. Scary was in on that one again as well. Ashton Scary also in on the tackle. And, yeah, I'm interested as well, Northrop Northside. Quite frankly, I don't know if you remember from a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned that Northside had that game won and got it kind of taken away from them, I thought, by the officiating crew that night on a really bad call on the touchdown that they had called back. So I would imagine Northside should be up to the task tonight to change the outcome, but we'll see.
Yep. Here goes Ivy around the far side. Nice run there for A.J. Ivy as he gets very near the first down marker. Looks like he's going to have the first down.
Yeah, very good run. But we got a hold, and it's coming back.
Oh, we do. Right what Anderson cannot afford to have happen.
Particularly on a first down run. But maybe that's the reason they got the first down.
So they will have to march that one back. You know, Corey, talking about those two teams, Northrop and Northside, I think a lot of people are with you on that. I think the consensus is that the Legends were the better team, and they are not going to let happen to them what happened to them in the regular season.
Demarius Cowan is a great running back for Northrop, but they are so one-dimensional that I just feel as if Northside is a better overall football team because of their offensive balance.
Right.
A lot of people know what Deuce Taylor's done, but Ja'Shawn Lambert is the second leading rusher in the SAC this year.
There you go.
So the balance that they have on offense at Northside, I think, should lead to a win tonight against Northrop, but we'll see.
Here is a 2nd and 17 play. It's going to be Stevenson passing towards the far sideline, overthrows his target, and that was Dontrez Fuller out there on the far sideline.
Yeah, and just a little hitch route to around 10 yards or so. They were trying to get half of that yardage back to make it 3rd and manageable, but it's 3rd and long again, 3rd and 17 here.
That has been the case in the last several drives, and Anderson, as we mentioned, not a team to make those big plays on 3rd and long.
Yeah, they're just not built for that with their 85 yards a game average passing. They, just not a situation they want to get in on a consistent basis as 3rd and long.
Yeah. Here's Stevenson looking to throw. He's got some pressure, steps up, tries to escape it, and he will not. A host of Saints bring him down in the backfield, back at the 15-yard line for a loss of 2 and another 4th down upcoming for the Indians.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Jack Tipman in there playing a little defensive line tonight. A name we don't often call defensively, but we'll be able to ring up a sack on his stat sheet.
And Jack Knight comes to the sideline clutching his left arm. And they're going to call the medical staff over there. We hope everything's all right for young Mr. Knight.
There will be 4.5 minutes left in this second.
4th and 22 for the Indians. They trail 28-6 with 4.5 minutes to go until halftime. Punt is barely away. And here comes Campbell. He's going to catch this with a full head of steam inside the 30, the 25, and that's where he'll be taken down. And yet another short field for the Saints upcoming as they're nearly starting this one at the red zone.
A really nice run back there that I really enjoyed the very end of the run where he clutched both hands around that ball to protect the football. So, we mentioned it in the opener that, one of the things that could lead to a problem for the Saints really is turnovers, and so far they are free of any of those thus far into the game.
That they are. They lead 28-6 and looking to add to their lead here in the last 4 minutes of the opening half. Lytle's going to be in the shotgun, trips to the near side, and one receiver out to the far side. And Lytle's going to roll to his left, looking to throw, picks up a block, hits Campbell at the 25, cutting inside the 20, down the sideline, 15, and stumbles a bit as he steps out of bounds at the 13-yard line. That's good for a Bishop Dwenger first down.
That's a great example of what taking the check down can do when you've got the receiver talent that the Saints have. Sam Campbell just turned a 5-yard pass into a 15 or 20-yard gain, but is there a flag down? Yeah, there is.
Looks like a procedure coming against the Saints. So they're going to march this one back. Indians in an early 22-point hole at Shields Field. That has been the case all season long. There's 7 losses this year by an average of 33 points a game. So unfortunately, the Indians are used to being on the wrong end of a lot of blowout games this year.
Right now it's 14-6 in that.
1st and 15 after the penalty.
Southside down, but they're
3 receivers to the near side for Lytle. That is to his left. Looking to throw is Lytle. Has all day. He's going to run it to his right this time. Is Tuckett himself and has a lot of space in front of him. He's going to run it all the way down to the 10-yard line and pick up another 20 yards on the ground. Corey, I think he's got about a 100 yards rushing the football this half.
Yeah, and that was a really good decision to pull it down. He had a lot of open real estate on the right side of the field there, and an even better decision to get out of bounds but without taking a hit.
Yeah,
that's the other thing that could derail this Dwenger train is an injury to another key player.
Right. We know Devin Tippmann is sitting this one out. We hope he's back next week. We'll have to see how effective he is. Lytle this time goes to the end zone looking for Sioka. He is there. And yet another perfectly placed ball is good for a Saints touchdown to Rocco Sioka.
We've got to give the credit where it's due there to 86 Rocco, because his body control to go get that football, that it was well placed. It was well placed to a back shoulder fade, but Rocco contorted his body back and made just a phenomenal catch. Great body control, and something that we probably haven't talked about enough this year with Sioka's development in the offseason was his body control and ability to go get the football.
Yeah, you saw there a great example of not only the body control, but the footwork as well.
Yeah.
As he had to turn his body, and it looked like he took a bit of a stumble, but was still able to locate the ball, extend, come down with a catch, and maybe that's some of those basketball plays coming into play there for the wide receiver.
Yeah, good footwork for sure.
The kick is good. Your score with 3:59 to go in the first half. Bishop Dwenger 35, Anderson 6. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Brady Benefits and Associates, your trusted advisors, help employers and their employees live well, work well, and retire well with proper insurance, investment, and retirement income planning strategies. Call Matt Brady at 220-8800 or visit them at BradyBenefitUSA.com for more information on how Brady Benefits can help your business today.
We are back at Shields Field, 35-6. The Saints have put 4 touchdowns on the board in the second quarter, and they now lead by 29 points. Last time out against Northrop, they jumped out to the 28-0 lead at halftime and held on for a shutout, their first shutout of the year, Corey. And it's one of those things I really appreciate, and I like that Bishop Dwenger, they don't put too much emphasis on a shutout. They'd rather put their second string in there and get them experience rather than keep the first string out and try to put an impressive number on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they come into the game giving up just, I think, 13 points, if I'm not mistaken, a game.
13.3.
But as you said, that's very misleading because they often have subs in at the end of the game, and it's also skewed by the triple overtime game at Homestead. So, in reality, their first team defense in regulation's probably given up about a score a game.
I've actually got that number for you.
Yeah, well, I knew you would.
Belanda kicks it away, fielded at the 14-yard line, almost dropped, and now through the middle following his blockers comes Anderson. Looked like Fuller on the return, and out to the 32-yard line. We talk about that starting defense for the Saints coming into tonight in 9 games in regulation, because that's the stat we like to.
Yep, absolutely.
We like that one better.
Key.
In 9 games, their starting defense has only allowed 10 touchdowns.
Wow.
3 rush and 7 pass. So as we saw,
about a score a game.
Yeah, about a score a game. So there's a lot of those games where Bishop Dwenger would end up allowing 13, 14 points, and most of the time there was a late touchdown put on against the second unit.
Right.
So the starting defense very stout yet again this year for the Saints.
Draw right up the gut. We'll get about
First down run gets about 2 yards for the Indians as we tick down to 3:45 to go in this first half.
at halftime. That Oak Hill Concordia leads 7-0 over
35-6 here, and we'll remind everyone that up 35 points or more in the second half is a running clock.
Right.
So it could be a quick second half if the Saints can get another score on the board here.
I think that would be ideal if you were a member of this Saints offensive group to get the ball back, get one more touchdown going into halftime, and then sit your starters in the second half. Here is a second down running play. A flag flies as the run goes nowhere.
Really good play by Ben Simcox, playing from his middle linebacker spot there to make that tackle. And I think there was probably a hold on the edge from the Anderson Indian offense. Yeah, exactly right. There's a hold. So we'll just see with that stop for loss anyway, or nearly no gain, will the Saints push them back or will they decline?
If they decline, it'll be a 3rd and 10 for the Indians. That was A.J. Ivey on the carry, doing his best to try to cut back and get some extra yards. And still waiting for a signal from the officials. Now they're going to start marching it back.
Yeah, he called a hold. There it is.
Yep.
So that helps your punt return and your offense there with a field position pushback of the penalty there, and
right.
As long as they can get a couple more stops.
Timeout on the field with 3:06 to go in the second quarter, and we will step aside for 30 seconds. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
That was 2 years ago last Holiday Robinson against Bluebirds.
Redeemer Radio is looking for ways to better serve a younger audience, and we want the input of our high school teens. So, we're having a contest. All high schoolers are invited to write a script of something they would like to hear on Redeemer Radio. It should be conversational and thought-provoking for our listeners. What's a faith-filled message that would inspire you and your friends? We'll produce and air scripts that we think fit our mission. The top winner receives a $100 Amazon gift card. Scripts should be between 30 and 60 seconds and can be emailed to contest@redeemerradio.com. The deadline is Monday, October 26th. Submit your script today.
Back at Shields Field, let's send things down to Nick Gray for some updates. Nick, what do you have?
Well, we've got Carroll over at Warsaw right now. That game is tied 21-21 at the half.
Wow.
Snyder's beating Homestead that 10-7. Northside's up on Northrop 20. It's really important for us because the winner of that one will play the winner of this one. Bishop Lewis has beaten Fairfield 7-0. Eastside's up at on Perry Heights 35-0. So we'll go back to live action with you guys. Back up to you.
Thank you, Nick. It's going to be a quick out pass from Stevenson, and it is dropped. It was a forward pass, so it will be incomplete.
Yeah, a little bubble screen there off to the left side and just unable to connect.
Yep, that has been the case here.
3rd and 20.
You know, for as impressive as that first drive by Anderson was, the Bishop Dwenger defense has really clamped down. Like we said, not allowing a single first down after that opening drive.
I think it was a little bit of a wake-up call, quite honestly.
Yeah.
You know, they may have been sleepwalking into this one a little bit, reading, you know, the clippings that we talked about on the mismatch.
Listening to people like you, Corey.
Yeah, listening to me.
That's what they get.
Nobody listens to me. But nonetheless, they may have been listening to some of that out there, and as Coach Nick Saban always calls that stuff, rat poison.
All right, we've got a timeout on the field by the Anderson Indians. They face a 3rd and 20. So we'll keep things right here, Corey, as we look at that potential matchup next week. It sounded like the Legends are in control of that game. If that score were to hold, that game next week for a sectional championship 5A would be right here at Shields Field with the Saints hosting the Legends.
Certainly a benefit to the Saints to play them on the home turf rather than having to go back down to Chambers Field again as they did earlier this season. And, you know, Northside's a quality opponent. They've got a quarterback that's, you know, I think in the top 5 in the state is Deuce Taylor, and in total yardage. He led the conference in passing yards. And then they've got a nice complement in Jay-Sean Lambert, who runs the ball quite well. The Legends issue has been on defense.
Right.
They gave up 76 points to Carroll earlier this year and have had trouble stopping people. So, you know, in that last one, the Saints really put a hammer on Deuce Taylor. They put a lot of pressure on him, and he walked off the field barely under his own power after that game that night. So, you know, hopefully that's on his mind if you're the Saints.
That's right. Here is your 3rd and 20 play for the Indians. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side.
The last one for the Indians.
And it looks like Armstrong at the quarterback position. He's going to roll to his left, fires it. He's got an open man, caught at the 30, and piling through a couple defenders up to the 35-yard line. Nice pickup there of about 13 yards. Unfortunately, they needed 20.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a great play, but unfortunate that it was on 3rd and 20 because they're still 8 yards or so from a first down. But with 2:50 left in the first half and the score 35-6, it wouldn't shock me if they went for it on 4th down here.
Yeah. It is a timeout on the field, and we're going to go ahead and take a timeout as well. 30 seconds. You're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Indiana Physical Therapy is your choice in Northern Indiana. We treat all walks of life, from Pee-wees to professionals, Olympians, and those in between. You can schedule at one of our 17 locations without a doctor's order, and we communicate with your physician. We accept all insurance plans and have the highest credentialed and reputable staff. Open 7 to 7 to schedule the same day you call. IPT gets you back to work, life, and play. Indiana Physical Therapy. Call 209-2464 or indianapt.com.
Back at Shields Field, 35-6 is your score. Saints on top of the Indians with 2:50 to go in the first half. And facing a 4th and 7, it is a punting situation.
Well, they are going to punt it.
Yep. Fuller is going to kick things away. Gavin Groves back deep for the Saints. Here is the punt, gets it away. High end over end kick, bouncing inside the 30, and they're going to let that one roll all the way down inside the 25 to the 22-yard line.
Yeah, the worst starting position for the Saints tonight.
Right.
And although if I'm offensive coordinator Brody Dixon, I don't mind that. You've got 2:37 left. What a great opportunity for them to try to put a 2-minute drill here together and kind of give you the simulation of a game that's in doubt, trying to get some points before the half. This is a great dress rehearsal for maybe a tighter game later in the season.
Lytle's going to come out in the shotgun with 3 wide receivers split out wide to the right, 1 to the left. KJ Tittman in the backfield. Here's a snap. Lytle's got time to throw, fires it down the sideline. Henry O'Keefe, single coverage, and it is incomplete. O'Keefe heavily covered there and really did not have any opening there.
Yeah, number 8, Curtis Lewis was on the coverage there, and just another shot going deep downfield for Brendan Lytle when he really didn't read much, just kind of chucked it.
We'll bring up a 2nd and 10 for the Saints. I think more often than not, when you have Henry O'Keefe in single coverage, you feel good about your chances. But to your point, Corey, there probably were better alternatives out there.
No doubt about it.
2nd and 10. Lytle to throw again. He's going to step up this time, roll to his right, looking to throw, fires this one down the sideline, and it is picked off. Picked off, looking for Rocco Sioka, and looked like there was another receiver out there that might have been the better option. That was Teddy Steele.
Yep, he had Teddy Steele wide open and chose Sioka instead and threw a pick. Brendan's had some issues in the 2-minute drill situations. The ones have been in the red zone have been the worst. But here's another 2-minute drill situation where he turns the ball over. So that's a trend that would concern me as a coordinator.
Right. For all the big plays he makes in big moments, there's still some things to clean up, and that's going to be a focus going forward, no doubt. 1st and 10 Indians. They'll take over at their own 41-yard line, so good starting field position for Anderson. Here's Stevenson, inside handoff, and Bishop Dwenger has had their number all night long on those runs. And A.J. Ivey gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
They will be thrilled if they can figure out a way to just run that clock and get out of this first half and into halftime without having to give the ball up.
Yep. Yeah, no timeouts for the Saints, so they cannot stop the ball to try to get the ball back.
So in all likelihood, they should be able to do that if they don't throw an incompletion.
And here comes Stevenson, throwing this one down the sideline. Incomplete. That'll stop the clock. So,
wow, on cue.
So much for that theory. And he also took that snap with about 10 seconds left on the play clock. So, missed opportunity there by Anderson to run this ball out.
Clearly not concerned about getting into halftime, it appears. They're still trying to make some plays down the field.
Well, and you can't blame them. I mean, you don't want to necessarily pack it in and say, let's try to keep this one to a minimum score.
Yeah.
If you are an offense, you want your coach to say, let's go out there and try to put another one on the board.
And add in the fact that they have to kick off to start the second half.
Right.
So they're going to give the ball up to the Saints then anyway.
3rd and 10 Anderson. Quick drop for Stevenson. That's deflected at the line, incomplete. As the Saints jump up, I think that was Fabini.
Yeah, John Michael Fabini. Even when he's not pressuring the quarterback and he gets blocked well, he still makes an impact on the game by jumping up in the air and knocking that pass down. Obviously not one of his 12.5 area-leading sacks, but just as important a play nonetheless.
Yeah, because you not only get no gain on the play, but another stoppage of the clock. So now 4th and 10 and 1:38 left on the clock for the Saints as Fuller puts this one away. Great kick all the way back to the 20-yard line. And here come the Saints on the return. It is O'Keefe cutting through the defense, now down to the left side. He's down the sideline, cuts back inside at the 45-40. He's got a convoy, knocked out of bounds at the 35. And that was a spectacular job by the Saints special teams, creating a lane for O'Keefe to run through. He followed his blockers and has the Saints set up very well in Anderson territory.
Yeah, and don't disregard the shiftiness of Mr. O'Keefe, because he really made that happen.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. Now, the Dwenger offense is getting a reprieve here. They've got 122 with no timeouts left, and they've got to go just 34 yards. Here is another 2-minute drill opportunity for them to make something happen, and I'd like to see Brendan take what the defense gives him and not force it in there down the field.
Well said. 1st and 10 Saints at the 34 of Anderson. This time finds a wide open Rocco Sioka at the 25, and he's going to look for the sideline, cuts inside at the 20, and is driven down right there.
First down will stop the clock. There's no reason to spike it. Let's get a play called. You got 1:12 left. The chains are moving. The clock is still stopped. Get into your formation, and let's run a play.
That's what they do. They're going to go trips to the near side. Lytle's in the shotgun, barking out signals. He's going to take the snap, roll to his left. Looking to throw, fires it, and has an open Sam Campbell who drops it at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, just threw his hands, unfortunately, there for Sam, but it stops the clock, 59.7, and just second down, and you're at the 20-yard line. So a lot of time left on the clock for the Saints offense here to still get that score before half.
I really like what I've seen out of Campbell this year for a sophomore, especially for a senior-laden squad in the Saints. He's been one of their primary playmakers, has really held his own against a tough SAC.
Tremendous addition to that receiving core, and has gotten a little better every week. I agree with you, Eric.
2nd and 10. Oh, it is a flip forward. That will be a pass.
Yeah, that's got to be an incomplete
pass. No, they're going to give it to Anderson.
No,
okay.
They need to discuss that. Yeah. All right.
We have a referee coming in from the near side.
It was most definitely a shovel pass. It was a tight end shovel kind of counter type play.
Yeah.
And Jack Tippmann just simply dropped it.
100%.
Definitely incomplete pass. They did get that call corrected.
Interesting play call during your 2-minute drill, I will say, but nonetheless, 3rd and 10 from the 20 with 52.1 left.
Yep, still plenty of time for the Saints. Lytle in the shotgun, looking to throw, fires it to his left. Again, a wide open man. This one off the fingertips of O'Keefe and intercepted. Second interception of the ball game. Curtis Lewis comes up with it. That one went off the hands of Henry O'Keefe, but looked like it might have been behind him.
I was just going to say a little behind him, and the turnover bug on the 2-minute drill rears its ugly head once again.
Yeah. It didn't look like O'Keefe was, or Lytle rather, was trying to necessarily jam the ball in there to a receiver that was covered, but
no, just
putting it slightly off target.
Yeah, just simply
can
inaccurate.
be just as costly.
Yep.
So Anderson's going to take over at their own 10-yard line, and most likely will just looks like they will run a play here. I would just take a knee if I was the Indians. But
Armstrong in a quarterback.
Spread things out, 2 receivers to each side. Marcus Armstrong awaiting the snap. Here it is, Armstrong looking to throw. He's going to fire this one down the sideline, and it is intercepted by the Saints.
Adam Lee.
Adam Lee picks it off, and could it be a third try for the Bishop Dwenger offense to run a 2-minute drill?
You know, Adam Lee is the more underrated corner of the cornerbacks of the Saints. Callan Stauffer gets a lot of the love, but Adam Lee has had a great year in his own right. That's his 3rd interception of the season. I believe he's 4th on the team with 41 tackles. Adam Lee has had a great year at corner, if not for a little overshadowing by Callan Stauffer.
If memory serves me correctly, he had a huge interception against Snyder that helped turn the tide in that game.
He did. He stayed home on a throwback kind of play, and that was probably the play of the game. You're right, Eric.
1st and 10 Saints, 40 seconds left on the clock. Lytle's going to set up a screen to Louis Tippmann, runs into a defender, sheds one, and he's going to get stood up there at about the 36-yard line. Clock is still running inside 30 seconds now. They're going to have to spike this ball.
Again, a curious call for me. A screen in the middle of the field with no timeouts left and with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, and they run off half their time. After that play, 19.6 seconds when they had 40, and so they took half their time to get 4 yards.
Yeah, I mean, a middle-of-the-field screen in that situation is not normally something you'd want to run with no timeouts left. But
right. Well, I mean, I understand it from the perspective of trying to catch the defense by surprise, but
you'd prefer one on the edge then in order to get out of bounds.
Here's third down for Lytle after the spike. Fires it over the middle. It is on target for Campbell, and it is caught inside the 20. It's going to be a first down. Campbell slow getting up.
He got hit hard on that
did.
play. He's got to get set so they can spike it. The change are moving, so they're stopping the clock, and there you go, 13.2 left. Somebody's going to have to come in and get Sam. He's banged up pretty good there.
Well, and that's what you see sometimes with that slot receiver coming across the middle.
Yeah.
They absorb a lot of big hits, and Campbell certainly did there.
I think he's going to be all right. He just got popped there. Maybe the wind knocked out of him, something of that nature.
Well, hats off to him he probably wanted to stay down on the turf after that play, but just kept his head on him, able to get into the spot so Dwenger could spike that ball, and now he's off the
penalty
field.
on the play, it appears. I see a flag down there about the 15, and there was
offsides. Maybe they lined up offsides on the spike.
All right, so add another 5 on. 13.2 seconds. The ball rests at about the 11-yard line. 1st and 5.
They've got time for maybe 2 more plays. And here goes Lytle. Takes the snap, rolls to his right, looking to throw. Now doubles it back to his left. Fires it into the end zone. He's got a wide open seal. He drops the football.
That's one of those. It's just too easy. There's nobody there. There's nobody there, and a perfect pass right to your best receiver, and he just simply dropped it.
Lytle was already turned around and running down the field back towards the coaching staff with his finger outstretched, and then turned around thinking, what happened?
Well, they've got one more shot here with 5.5 seconds left. In their 2-minute drills from 2 minutes and 37 seconds, they've thrown 2 interceptions and dropped one in the end zone. They may still score. We shall see.
So they elect to keep the field goal unit on the sideline. They're going to take one more shot at the end zone. Here's Lytle to throw. Fires a fade into the end zone. He's got a man there, and it is caught.
There it is.
For a touchdown. Beautiful play. And that was Sioka again.
Certainly makes up for the last one, doesn't it? 0.9 seconds.
The difficulty level on that was 10 times what it was on the previous play. And Sioka turns around, locates the ball, comes down with it with a defender in his face, and absorbs the contact on the way down.
We've got to go back through that again. 2:37, we throw 2 interceptions, we drop one in the end zone, and we score with 0.9 left on the clock. And they get the ball back to start the second half.
Well, these are the type of things that you can do when you are playing inferior competition, Corey, but by no means is that something that they'll get away with at any other game in this postseason, I guarantee.
Well, you know, you're up 42-6 with 0.9 seconds left in the first half, and I'm sure that there's a part of them on the sideline that probably isn't overly happy.
No. So Sioka comes down with the touchdown catch there. And Brendan Lytle, I guess you can be happy that he had a measure of redemption after throwing those interceptions. That's probably his last pass of the night, and it goes for a touchdown. So at least gets to leave the field with a good taste in his mouth. So 42-6 is your score. There is 0.9 seconds left on the clock, so Bishop Dwenger will have to kick this ball away before we can call it a half.
Continues to put records up.
An interesting first half, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know, I think the score is about what Saints fans might have expected at halftime, but the way they got to the score is probably not what they expected.
No, not at all.
So Belanda will get set to put this one away, and then we're going to take a break at half with Bishop Dwenger on top 42-6. And here comes Belanda on the approach, squibs it down the field. It is picked up at the 30, falls on it there, and that's going to take us to the end of the first half. Your score after 2 quarters of play, Bishop Dwenger 42 and Anderson 6. We'll step aside and be back with our halftime show. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Participating in sports at our area Catholic schools develops important character traits and lifelong values in children. Through an endowment with the Catholic Community Foundation of Northeast Indiana, you can keep programs like these alive. If you're interested in creating a fund or would like professional planned giving services so you can leave a legacy for future generations, call the Catholic Community Foundation today at 260-399-1436.
We are back at Shields Field, halftime, and it's 42-6, Bishop Dwenger on top of the Anderson Indians. Well, this halftime show is brought to you by Shawnee Construction and Engineering, a full-service construction firm that meets and exceeds expectations. With 94% repeat and referral business, when we say partnering for a lifetime, we mean it. With that, we welcome you up into our booth, and the Bishop Dwenger Saints in control in this game. Will have a running clock situation for the entire second half. And overall first impressions from the first half, Corey, as you look at a Saints squad that has had its share of mistakes, and I guess as you look forward in this game, the starters are probably going to be out sitting on the sideline the rest of the game, and they've got plenty that the coaching staff can talk to them about in the second half.
Yeah, they've got a number of things that they're going to need to clean up. The one that sticks out the most is the 2-minute drill and the ability to possess the football, not turn it over, and get points. But overall, coming off a bye week, a little rusty probably from an execution standpoint against an inferior opponent that they didn't expect to put up much of a fight. They accomplished what they needed to. They got this game to a running clock by halftime, and they'll be able to rest their key guys in the second half, and most importantly, advance on to the sectional final next week.
Right, you said it right there. Whenever you're playing an opponent that just is not at the same skill level as you, you're looking to put them out of the game early, and you're looking to get out of the game with no injuries and move on. And so from that perspective, the Saints have been successful.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They accomplished what they wanted to thus far in the first half. To get to the running clock point of things, they can rest their guys in the second half and start thinking about the winner of the Northside-Northrop game.
That they can. We're going to step aside, take a 2-minute break here, and when we come back, we're going to have some first half stats, and we're also going to check in on some scores around the tournament. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Have you heard the story of the man living in a house facing an imminent flood? An authority drives by to recommend the homeowners evacuate. The man responds, "I have faith that God will save me," and ignores the ride. The floodwaters begin to rise, forcing the man to the second floor of his home, and authorities send out a rescue boat. The man again declines, exclaiming, "I have faith that God will save me." The waters continue to rise, forcing the man to his roof. A helicopter flies by and beckons him to hop in. The man again responds, "I have faith that God will save me." The waters soon overcome the house, and tragically, the man drowns. He is taken to the judgment seat, where he is incredulous. "I am a man of great faith in God. Why didn't he save me?" The judge responds, "Well, we sent a car and a boat and a helicopter." The moral of this tongue-in-cheek story is that God works through various means, including other people. Jesus draws us together into the body of Christ as a community, the church. We are designed to bear one another's burdens and to lift one another in times of trial. Some disparage the church as a crutch, but like the man in the story, we ignore these gifts of God to our peril. Let's pray. Father of grace and mercy, you call us to faith in you. Help us recognize the many ways you answer that faith, including through the community around us. Amen. This is Mike Kelly with Pray for Two. Listen to them anytime at godislove.blog or on the Redeemer Radio app.
Welcome back to our halftime show. Bishop Dwenger on top of the Anderson Indians 42-6. And with that, we're going to check in with Kevin Thompson for some first half stats. Kevin, what do you have for us?
Well, guys, I'll start with Anderson. Most of their yards came in that first possession when they scored. A.J. Ivey has 6 carries for 30 yards. Passing then between Armstrong and Stevenson. Armstrong, it was 3 receptions, or 7 attempts, 3 receptions for 33 yards, and Stevenson was 4 of 10 for 11 yards passing. On Dwenger, Lytle was 11 for 24, 2 interceptions, 173 yards, 4 rushes for 70 yards, and then Dwenger had total rushing was 11 carries for 112 yards.
Okay.
So 285 of total offense for the Saints in the first half. 77 for Anderson. So about what you'd expect, honestly.
Yep, and they had probably 60, 65 of those yards in the opening drive, and just about nothing since then. I look at those numbers, and I think, number one, that might have been that might have been the most passing attempts Lytle's ever had in the first half, 24.
Yeah.
But kind of the young Brendan Lytle showed his head there, completing less than 50% of his passes and throwing 2 picks. Those are kind of numbers we saw out of him as a sophomore.
No, yeah, you're right. I think that, I think with the week off, they're trying to get some rhythm back in the passing game. I don't blame them one bit about that. And then you also got to remember that Devin Tittman's not around to run the ball tonight.
Right.
So without Devin here, maybe that added to throwing it a little bit more often as well.
Although we have really, so many capable backs with Bishop Dwenger, and we really have yet to see KJ Tittman, Louis Tittman. We saw Gavin Groves a couple runs, but it's almost exclusively been through the air for the Saints.
Yeah, KJ with 3 attempts and Gavin Groves with 4 is the extent of the running game, besides Brendan pulling down some passes and running them himself. Right. So, we have not seen much of the running game, but I think you'll get a heavy dose of that in the second half.
That we will, although we might not see the starting running backs. We might see a lot of Louis Tittman.
But quite honestly, KJ jumped out of there on one play, came off a little bit limping.
Yep.
You've got Devin at home having surgery today, so banged up a little bit in the running back department. Maybe this is a way to get those guys healed up before a big sectional final next week.
There you go. We want to try to send things down to Nick Gray now, who has some scores from around the area and some sectional action. Nick, take it away.
Well, guys, right now Carroll and Warsaw are tied at 21-21. Homestead's beating Snyder now 21-10. Northside's up on Northrop 22-14. Halftime. So Bishop Lewis at Fairfield. That game's moving along at a pretty good pace compared to ours. Lewis is winning 21-6, and then Eastside's beating Prairie Heights 42-0. Wayne is beating Delta 21-18. Marion's beating Southside 21-6. East Noble and DeKalb tied at 7. Northwood is up on Leo 12-6. Concordia still is leading Oak Hill 7-0. And then another interesting game that might be in our future, time will tell, is that McCutcheon is beating Kokomo 24-7. So back up to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
And then you had a score on the Zionsville and Lafayette Harrison.
Yeah, I believe that was 22-6.
Zionsville.
Yeah, Zionsville on top of Harrison.
Which comes in, Zionsville had a worse record in the regular season than Harrison, but they play in the much more difficult Hoosier Crossroads Conference that includes Brownsburg, Avon, Fishers, Hamilton, Southeastern, Westfield. Arguably, in my opinion, they're the second best conference in the state behind the MIC. So that's a really tough conference, and they went, I think, 4-5 or 5-5. I think 4-5 in the regular season against that conference, and so the fact that they're beating Lafayette Harrison, and it's at Zionsville as well. That would be the chink in the armor to keep the Saints from being at home in the regional, would be if Zionsville were to happen to win that tonight.
So Zionsville going against Harrison. Harrison's 6-3 on the season, but again, we mentioned they play in the NCC, the North Central Conference, and just not the same competition there. So interesting scores.
A great basketball conference, the North Central Conference.
There you go.
Anderson and Richmond and so forth and so on. But not so much for football typically.
Yeah, so a lot of interesting scores there, especially when you hear Wayne on top of Delta. That was a game, I don't think a lot of people necessarily had Wayne winning in the first round, but they did. They pulled off the 12-8 win over Huntington North. It was part of a 4-0 opening night for the SAC last week. Wayne won, Southside won over New Haven. Bishop Luers, of course, beating Whitco, which you heard on Redeemer Radio last week. And then Concordia advancing by forfeit over Peru.
Well, the one thing that I'll add about Wayne is that head coach Sherwood Haydock is no stranger to winning playoff games.
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably sold his kids all year long. Then let's do all we can in the SAC, but let's get to the tournament.
Yeah.
Because he's won a state championship at Harding. He has played in the state championship game with Woodland. He is no stranger to postseason success, and the Wayne score should not shock me, but it does a little bit.
Well, it's actually part of an even bigger trend we saw just in the area in general. I was amazed. There were 5 teams just here in Northeast Indiana who came into last week with 0 wins or 1 win and came out victorious. Yeah. We had Wayne and Southside. We had 0-9 Prairie Heights getting their first win against Woodland.
Yeah.
We had West Noble coming in at 1-8, beating John Glenn. And then we had DeKalb with 1 win, beating Angola 7-0 when they lost by 37 points to Angola in week 1.
And DeKalb's putting up a significant fight at East Noble tonight, 7-0. And I think the switch that flipped there for the DeKalb Barons was a quarterback change that they made a few games ago, and it seems to have made a difference there.
So you just never know when you get to the postseason. You just never know. And so there's a lot of teams that came in with subpar records. But, that's the beauty of high school football in Indiana. When everyone makes the tournament, it is truly the second season. And what you did in the first nine games means absolutely nothing when you hit week 10.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
You give teams a new lease on life rather than going home and watching the playoffs as they do in Ohio and Illinois. If you don't have a good regular season record, you still get an opportunity to play here. And that's what I love about our state tournament, in addition to the fact that it ends up in probably the mecca of football, and that's at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah. And it's really interesting as we look at these scores and talk about the SAC having success in the tournament. It's one of those things, as we talked about during the season, you just have no idea where the SAC stacks up against other conferences because they have no measuring stick in the regular season. With 10 teams in the SAC, you have no out-of-conference matchups. And that means we don't get to find out until the tournament how good these SAC teams are.
No, you're exactly right. There's been some clamoring over the years about, possibly splitting the SAC into 2 divisions so that some of these schools get an opportunity to play some non-conference opponents. It would help maybe the bigger schools to go play some other bigger schools and better opponents potentially, and it would help the smaller schools get an opportunity to maybe go play schools more their size. But thus far they have not done that, and they've stayed in conference completely. And you're right. I mean, I think we saw last week that there's certainly some strength still in the SAC when you have all 10 teams still playing tonight in the second round.
Yep, all 10 of them in action. Of course, we can get no more than 8 because you got two games featuring SAC schools going head-to-head with Snyder Homestead playing and Northside Northrop playing. But that's impressive, having all 10 teams playing in week 2 of the tournament.
No question about it.
Yep. Well, Anderson back out onto the field. We're in our final couple minutes of the halftime show as they'll start hitting the field for warm-ups. So we will step aside with our final halftime break and be back here to wrap up the halftime show. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
If you're new to an area and finding your way around, ask a local. If you're a business wanting the best talent, ask local staffing experts. We're Spherion Staffing, Fort Wayne staffing experts. Owners Tom and Elizabeth Pentenberg and their team bring over 10 years experience to hiring initiatives. Whether you need administrative, light industrial, or professional support, Spherion knows the local talent. Gain a hiring advantage. Call Spherion at 496-9900 or follow us on Facebook at Spherion Northeast Indiana.
We are back at Shields Field as the teams are hitting the field for warm-ups to prepare for the third quarter. And, at this point, Corey, we talk about upcoming games in the tournament, but every team at this point is taking everything week by week because you never know what's going to happen with the COVID-19 situation. We've unfortunately seen a number of teams have to bow out of the state tournament early, not by virtue of a tournament loss, but by virtue of not being able to field a team because of a COVID situation. Either players on their team testing positive or contact tracing, forcing a team to sit out a game. And it just makes it very, very difficult as a lot of these teams are finding out at the very last second. Case in point today, Concord, finding out on game day that their season is over because of COVID, and that's just tough to swallow.
Yeah, their offensive line coach, Sam Vaughn, up there at Concord, is a good friend of mine. I had an opportunity to coach with him on the North-South All-Star game a few years back, and my heart just aches for him and his seniors. And to lose in the tournament is gut-wrenching enough, but to have it stripped away from you without an opportunity to play for it, is doubly gut-wrenching. And I just feel for them and any of the other teams that have had their season ended by this, and they unfortunately they probably, Eric, won't be the last.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. I think maybe off air in our pregame discussions, but discipline by these teams, and sometimes it's out of your control even, but these teams have to be simply on their game disciplined to try to stay away and stave this thing off until they get through the playoffs, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because they just haven't been through anything like this before. None of us have.
Right. Yeah, that's the name of the game, discipline, because your season, your career, if you're a senior as a high school football player, hangs in the balance.
Yeah, and it's not all on them. They could be in a classroom with someone who's a non-athlete who tests positive, and due to contact tracing, you may have to be quarantined. It's just a lot of this is out of your control as well. So we're certainly not putting the blame on any of these teams or their players individually, because it could be out of their control.
Yep, and we've seen, we had a full season in the SAC. We were very fortunate there, but we've already seen some area teams be affected by COVID situations, most notably Concordia last week getting to advance by virtue of Peru forfeiting their first-round game. And then, it turns right back around on Concordia, and Tim Manigault is in quarantine.
Yeah, their head coach. I forgot about that, yeah.
So they're playing without their head coach tonight. We had Southwood, their football team. It looked like they were going to get their season canceled, and then they were resurrected back from the dead, and they're still winning football games undefeated this year.
That was a strange week for them and their opponent. I think they played Northfield maybe in the first round, and they basically had, for all intents and purposes, canceled that game between Southwood and Northfield.
Yeah.
And then, I think Southwood got the news that they could play and hadn't practiced once during the week, and then went out on Friday night and won anyway. Well, they're that talented.
They're that talented. Northfield was an inferior opponent, and I'm wondering if you're the athletic director at Northfield, do you just not pick up that phone call and say, no, we're good, we've advanced. I don't have to talk to anybody about this.
Hey, what's that number? That's where your caller ID comes in handy there.
Yeah, but it's been a trend. By my count, Corey, looking at the tournament and what games have had to end by forfeit, by my count, we've had 10 teams, 11 with Concord, having to forfeit a game so far in this tournament. We had 7 last week. We've had 4 tonight. And, a lot of those teams forfeiting are teams that have not had good records and are winless, but you're going to have every now and then a very strong team that had high postseason aspirations, having to call it quits early.
Yep, it's going to happen, and you just hope it's not to you.
Yep. So here we go. Second half is underway as Anderson kicks this ball away. High kickoff, and the Saints catch it at the 27-yard line. Actually, Louis Tippmann calling a fair catch there.
Yep, good decision from Louis, and just grab that ball and make the fair catch and possess it.
And now we see Colin Vance coming in at quarterback. This is something I thought we might see. Colin Vance is listed as the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart.
He's a junior.
Right.
Plays free safety, and normally in mop-up duty doesn't get an opportunity to quarterback this team because normally he's already played plenty on defense.
Right. Bodie Dickerson's been seeing those snaps, but tournament time, Vance is the player they're probably going to turn to if something were to happen. And a fumble on the first play from scrimmage in the second half as the running back just coughed it straight up. I think that was Louis Tippmann.
I think so too. He just handed the ball in there and it just popped right out of his breadbasket and right to the defense there. Just not the way you wanted to start that first series for the Saints, clearly.
Anderson's going to take over on the 33 of the Saints. So turnover on the first play there.
Got some backups in on defense for sure. It looks like the most of the secondary, if not all, as well as the linebackers. We've got a couple of linemen up front that have been in quite a bit, but by and large, your linebacking crew and your secondary are all backups at this point for the Saints, getting some nice playing time here.
Yep, Anderson comes out 1st and 10. We are in a running clock situation the rest of the game. Stevenson hands off and through the middle, short gain for A.J. Ivey. The 32-yard line, gain of 1.
Little power play that Michael Finley in there makes the tackle from his linebacking spot. Nice job, Michael Finley.
Anderson's going to huddle up. Corey, just to put the finishing touches on that conversation about COVID, I mentioned before the game, just a really interesting number because everything's been so up in the air. Teams are just all across the board in terms of how many games they've played this year. And more on that in a second after this play. Stevenson's in the shotgun for 2nd and 9. Rolls to his left looking to throw, and he fires, has an open receiver on the sideline, and they're going to call it incomplete, out of bounds. When we look at these teams at this week 11 in the season, we have some teams entering tonight who have played a full 10-game schedule. We also have teams who have played 9 games. We have teams who have played 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and all the way down to 3 games. And that would be Whiting, who enters tonight's action with a record of 1 and 2.
Who did up in the region, they did the Big Ten, where they said they weren't going to play, and then they changed their mind halfway through the season. That, maybe we will play.
Right. So you have teams all across the board in terms of how many reps they've gotten this season. And, teams like Whiting, on their 4th game, they're playing postseason football. Here's a 3rd and 9, gain up to the 30-yard line for the Indians, bringing up a 4th down play.
A really nice play initially by Michael Becker there for the Saints to be the first defender there, but he didn't quite get it wrapped up and needed some teammates' help there to force this 4th down.
4th and 6 at the Bishop Dwenger 29-yard line. So other than their opening drive of the game, this is the farthest the Indians have been into Saints territory. Offense remains on the field on the 4th down. Stevenson in the shotgun. 2 wide receivers down to the right side. They'll pitch it out to Ivey, and he will not go anywhere. Taken down in the backfield by the Saints, and the second stringers come up with a 4 and out rather, to force the Indians into a turnover on downs.
A really nice job there by the Saints defense to take advantage of that sudden change and get the stop when they needed to deep in their own territory. So we'll get Colin Vance back out there again to run the offense and see if they can be a little more successful in this series. For some reason, the chain gang hasn't moved yet. They still think it's 4th down, Anderson, but it's 1st down for the Saints here.
And early movement before the snap. This one's going to cost Dwenger 5 yards, I believe.
Yes, looks like the offensive guard on the right side jumped early. Again, when you put a new quarterback in with a new cadence, sometimes you have some of those issues. But the offense clearly not clicking on the cylinders that they would be looking for here to start the second half.
Well, you mentioned you've got Vance, who, he's the more accomplished quarterback over Brody Dickerson, but he's actually seen less game action this year.
That's a great point.
And they'll hand it off this time. Big room there for Louis Tittman across the 35-yard line to the 37.
And Colin took that snap from under center and about fumbled it there on the way back to give it to Louis. So we're having some issues here with Coach Garrett, I think, got after that group just a little bit there from the sidelines. And I thought that even the huddle was a little more disciplined and so forth.
Second and 4 after the gain, I formation for Vance. Will hand it off to Louis Tittman, and he's going to put his head down across the 45 and right up to midfield as he picks up 13 yards and a Bishop Dwenger first down.
Boy, the offensive line that's in there right now is getting it done. That looked like the parting of the Red Sea there on that, looked like an ISO play. Louis behind Tommy Whitty at fullback, and nice first down pickup for the Saints.
Ball resting right on the midfield stripe. 5:42 to go as already over half this third quarter is done. Saints on top 42-6.
5.5 left.
I formation for Vance under center. Here's a snap, fakes the handoff, will keep it himself, looking for the right edge, gets across midfield, gain of a couple yards, and Vance makes something out of nothing on that play.
Yeah, it looked like it was supposed to be a fullback dive, but I think either Tommy Whitty went the wrong direction or Colin Vance opened up the wrong direction because they were in opposite spots there, so Colin was able to turn it into at least a couple yard gain.
What are your thoughts on Vance not getting a lot of playing time this year? He is your number 2 quarterback. If something were to happen to Lytle in the tournament, you would need him.
Yeah, that would concern me a lot, quite honestly. But it doesn't appear to concern them. And Brendan has, knock on wood, Brendan has been quite the warrior over his 3 years as a starter. I don't believe he's ever missed a game. So, again, we'll knock on wood for that.
Yeah. Another handoff for Louis Tittman down to the 40-yard line. It's going to be second and inches.
For Dwenger, 4.5 minutes left in the third.
We tick down to 4:26 to go.
North side and Northrop. And north side has pulled away, ladies and gentlemen.
It is going to be third down.
Just under
2 receivers to the far side for Vance in the shotgun. Vance looking to throw, rolls to his right, fires towards the sideline, and it is there, but the defense is there to converge and knock the ball away. Corey, I like that pass by Vance, though.
Yeah, pretty good throw, and quite honestly, it was for the most part on target there. Yeah. I think it was intended, it looks like, for 84 Preston Ross, young sophomore receiver for the Saints there, and I think that the Anderson defensive back on the play, I wasn't able to catch the number, but he did a nice job of breaking up that pass. So sets up a fourth and about a foot here.
Yep. I formation for the Saints, Vance under center. 4th and inches. He'll keep it himself and easily has a Saints first down.
Yeah, nicely done there, and another great push by the Saints up front. I think Joe Fabini's still in there at his center spot, and that's a big deal. And I'm glad to see that, quite honestly. I'm glad to see the Saints are still using some starters, and in particular the center, because it gives Colin Vance an opportunity, as you mentioned, to get some snaps from the starter in case he needs it later.
Yep. Getting great experience here. He's got a 1st and 10 as the Saints have the ball resting at the Anderson 37-yard line. I formation, 1 receiver out to each side for Vance. He'll hand off to the second man through. It is Dixon, Aziz Dixon, with his first carry of the night. Good for 10 yards and Dwenger first down.
Yeah, again, big holes up front by those offensive linemen. Joe Fabini up there looked like maybe 67 Austin Busher, who's coming out now. I think he did so good on that block that they said, all right, come out and take a rest.
You can check all these games on our website, Summit City's.
1st and 10 Saints, 2:23 to go in the third quarter as Vance comes out. An exciting time this weekend to be a Bishop Dwenger fan. All sorts of action, fall teams in deep postseason action. We'll tell you about that in a second after this play. 1st and 10 Saints. Vance under center, single back, and a counter play through the middle. Dragged down, thrown down hard after a gain of 7 that time was Tommy Whitty on the rush.
Yeah, Tommy's first carry of the night. Nice job there by the Saints fullback. He's been playing some H-back for him this year. He has been a jack of all trades. He plays linebacker. He's played a little down line on the defensive side as a D-lineman for rush purposes. Tommy, good-looking athlete and getting an opportunity to play a number of different positions.
2nd and 3 Saints, I formation. Here's Vance under center. And he's going to fumble the handoff, roll it back. He's rolling to his right and is going to just run this one out of bounds. And a short gain on the play. Corey, we mentioned Bishop Dwenger having some fall postseason success. Girls soccer heading back to state. They're going to play in the 2A state championship tomorrow against Cathedral. That is tomorrow at Fishers High School at 2 p.m. They played Cathedral earlier on this year and won 1-0. And now they get another shot, this time for a state championship, and it's a level of redemption, a chance at redemption for the Lady Saints. They lost in the 2A state title game last year, made it back, which I know that's a hard thing to do after you lose a state championship to make it back the next year. Here is Vance on the rollout looking for the end zone and throws short.
Yeah, kind of in between his two receivers. It looked like he had both 88 Max Robinson and 84 Preston Ross both there, but kind of, I think, threw it in between the two.
Yep. So best of luck to the Bishop Dwenger girls soccer team. They advanced to state after a 1-0 win over Culver, and they will face Cathedral for a state championship, looking for number 3 in program history. And let me just say, Corey, this team, shout out to the seniors, 5 of them, Kelly Connolly, Lucy Bryan, McKenna Kleinrickert, Aaron Burns, and Cecilia Garrett. Those 5 seniors have led this team, but the top 4 scorers on the team are underclassmen, led by Callie Burns with 48 points. So this is a team that not only is getting back to state for the 2nd year in a row, they plan on making this a regular occurrence.
Congratulations to them, and hopefully they can finish it off tomorrow.
Yep, best of luck to the Lady Saints. As we hit the end of the third quarter, 42-6, we'll step aside, and you're listening to high school football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Are you looking for an orthopedic specialist? Ortho Northeast has been serving the community for over 55 years with offices in 3 convenient locations. Dr. John Pritchard is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon with over 25 years of experience with ONE and can assist you with the best treatment plan for your knee or shoulder pain. Dr. John Pritchard is looking forward to meeting you and helping with all your orthopedic needs. Call Dr. Pritchard at 260-484-8551 or online at orthone.com.
We are back at Shields Field getting ready for the 4th quarter of play, and just amazing how quickly these quarters fly by with the running clock. 42-6 is your score after a scoreless 3rd quarter. Bishop Dwenger driving with football. We talked about the Bishop Dwenger girls soccer team. Also want to give a shout out to the volleyball team. They're going to play tomorrow as well in semi-state. They swept Belmont 3-0 in the regional championship at Norwell last Saturday. And now Bishop Dwenger is going to take their 31-2 record to face New Prairie in semi-state. That's tomorrow night at Logansport High School. So a couple Lady Saints teams in action tomorrow night in big postseason games. Here's a 4th down field goal attempt, and that one is no good. It's going to go wide left.
Looked like they had the distance from, what was that, about a 37-yard attempt approximately, and had the distance just a little wide left. So, nice opportunity for the field goal unit to get a live rep during a game here. They may need that later on in the season, and they can work the bugs out of that a little bit.
So Anderson's going to take over as they still trail this game 42-6, 11:23 to go in the ball game.
Hey guys.
Yep, and we want to send things down to Nick on the sideline right now. Nick, what do you have for us?
Well, guys, you guys are doing a great job, and it's neat to talk about some of the other sports and activities that are going on here at Bishop Dwenger. I'm going to try to scoot over here in a minute or two and get Jason Garrett, the head coach, and see if we can't talk to him a little bit as we round out the evening.
Awesome. An in-game interview. Would love it.
Yeah, just give me a second here, okay?
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Here is a first down play. It is going to be Stevenson on the rollout down the right sideline, keeping it himself and taking a hit there at about the 24-yard line after a short gain.
Yeah, I think the Saints were able to bring him down. Didn't pick up the number. I think I saw Becker over there, and maybe 36 or 38. Must be 38. Kyle Eddy in there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be off.
And yeah, so good to see some other jersey numbers involved there.
He's going to bring up a 2nd and 9. And it looks like we have Coach Garrett getting all set on the sideline. So after this play, we're going to bring it down and bring Coach Garrett into the broadcast.
Hey, guys, I got Coach down here.
All right, let's go ahead and send things down to Coach Garrett on the sideline. Coach, thanks for taking some time with us.
This is unique here.
It is. How about it?
I don't know when Nick's this close to me.
Makes you nervous?
Yeah, it makes me really nervous.
Well, he does the same thing to us.
Yeah, he's got that. So. He's got that about.
Yeah.
Coach, you got things under control in this game. Hasn't been perfect, but you guys looks like you'll be able to come out of this one with a lot of guys getting some playing time and injury-free, and that's really what's important this time of year.
Full moon, and it's a blue moon. Blue moon. I don't know what full moon is. I hope it's after the season.
Good job.
Had a few of those. So.
We're having a little technical difficulty with hearing Coach there a little bit.
You guys got me now?
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yep, cutting in a little bit out there, but Coach, I want to ask you real quick if we could. We know that you have weekly virtues that you talk about with this team, and this week's was endurance. Talk a little bit about that and what you talked about with your guys this week with endurance.
Yeah, we don't.
Guys, sorry about that. It looks like the microphone might be a little chilly tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Turn around and see if you can face them.
You guys got me?
We do. All right. Thank you, Coach.
Well, endurance and hope.
Yeah.
And, we had the bye week, which was the second time we've had that. And so we were able to navigate it a little bit better. And, with endurance, it's just patient endurance, and the ability to maintain your integrity, through difficult times, through times that you need to be patient. It speaks about the whole season and, really since March. So, realizing our time to get better, to not get impatient, and then the hope, and then applying that, not just to football, but then to, what that means in life. So, talking about St. Paul, overcoming adversity, staying focused, being patient. It was a long 2 weeks. We're allowed to heal up, but gosh, to not play a game in 2 weeks, it's a big deal. So.
No doubt about it. And, you're talking about adversity. Talk to us, Coach, about the challenges of playing high school football in this COVID world this season. I'm sure it's been a year unlike anything you've ever been through.
All coaches are going through it, so, we're not alone, that's for sure. But, I think the saddest part in the whole journey has just been, the experiences that the guys lose. The locker room, that time together, the proximity that they can be with one another. They cherish those things. And, everything's kind of scripted out. They're living out of a bag. That said, I was talking to Coach at midfield, and he was seeing the same thing with his guys. We started our practice a little bit later because they come in and take tests now. And it's like recess out here for an hour. And we just let them go. We pray the Lord that there's no injuries. But, they're running around. It looks like 5th and 6th grade recess out here. And we got to let them do it. So, they've adapted, thanks be to God. And I think we're just day by day, step by step. And we almost expect changes along the way anymore. But, in some ways you can argue that it's forced them to be a little bit closer, which, God willing, will help us in this journey.
Well, no doubt about it. 1 point in triple overtime from an SAC title.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, I know. And so no trophies yet, but what I was getting to is starting next week, you're playing for hardware every single Friday night. And how exciting is that going to be?
Oh, yeah, I actually wrote in there. I got a little notepad I keep with me, just things to mention at the end of the game, and that's the number one thing. Everything from this point forward is a championship, And Corey, you remember the tradition 40s on Monday, that's something you always talk about. So, I think this is our second opportunity at a 5A sectional, and, it's day by day, and we're just trying to live one more week together, and, we'll give it a shot. Sounds like it'll be north side, which means it'll be home, and another opportunity to be home. So,
sounds
looking
great.
forward to that.
Well, we can't thank you enough for doing this in-game. It's something new and exciting, and appreciate you bearing with us and doing that.
Well, I appreciate you guys. We don't get a chance to thank you guys for all your efforts, all you guys did to make everything possible for guys, people at home. So thank you for all you guys do for us on behalf of our team and program. We really appreciate you guys more than you know.
Truly our pleasure, Coach.
Our
Thank
pleasure,
you.
Coach.
All right.
Appreciate it. Good luck to you.
All right. Careful of the blue moon.
We'll watch out. Thank you. And that is Coach Jason Garrett, head coach, being a great sport with us tonight and giving us an in-game interview.
Maybe a first for us, at least, certainly at least this season, to have an in-game interview with the head football coach. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. Meanwhile, Anderson has moved the ball into Bishop Dwenger territory, but just turned the ball over on downs at the Dwenger 25-yard line.
I asked him for permission for that earlier today, so Eric, it'll be your responsibility to ask him if we can mic him up for the entire game and next time.
Well,
we'll see how that goes.
Only fitting to take things to the next level, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I drew the short straw on that one, huh?
Well, it looks like gaining on 4 minutes left in this one, still 42-6. We've got, looks like Bodie Dickerson now in under center, or in the shotgun, as it may be, excuse me here. And Aziz Dixon on the carry.
Yep, Dixon around the near side, loses the football. Nope, he's going to take a big hit there, actually held on.
It was helmet to helmet, and there's a penalty flag thrown, and I don't know what you're going to call on that. When a running back lowers his head, I certainly wouldn't call the penalty on the defender, but I don't know how you can call that on the offensive player either. So let's see what they call here.
The defender is the one who is still on the turf,
yes.
And he is clearly shaken. Aziz Dixon popped right back up. And now he is able to walk off under his own power. That's number 43, DeJuan Baker.
They're going to call targeting on DeJuan Baker on that.
I disagree with that.
Yes.
I think when the running back lowers his head, they talk about this repeatedly as they educate the younger generations of football players. You are not to use the crown of the helmet as a mechanism to inflict a hit on a defender.
I don't have any understanding of how you can call that on the defender when he gets the brunt of the blow as well. I don't think you should call it on the offense either. I think that's sometimes there's going to be helmets that touch in a football game.
Absolutely. Well, that's the main point that's made. You cannot make football a safe game. You can take steps to make it safer. You cannot make it safe. There is going to be collisions, and we hope that everything's okay for young Mr. Baker on the opposite sideline. But that is one of those plays where
they picked it up.
They do. They pick up the flag. I think that is the right call.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? We give them a hard time when we think they do things wrong. Let's give them some serious kudos there for picking that flag up. That was the right call.
Yep. 3:33 to go. And Bishop Dwenger with the football, 1st and 10. Dickerson hands it off, and Dixon's going to be tackled for a gain of 2 yards. Corey, obviously that interview with Coach Garrett was really wonderful to not only be able to talk about football and the direction of this team, but also hearing about those virtues, and that is really what it boils down to. As a head coach of the Bishop Dwenger football program, Jason Garrett is not only talking X's and O's with these guys, he is sharing real-life lessons that are going to help these guys down the road, and endurance is a huge one.
There are 327, I believe, football playing schools in the state of Indiana, and only 6 of them get to hold up a trophy at the end of their season.
Yeah.
The other, I'm not good at math, but 300 and some.
That's just subtraction,
I know,
Corey.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay.
The other 321 teams, have to get something out of this.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. It's really not, as much as we like to make it about holding up that big state of Indiana trophy at the end of the season, the life lessons that you learn from this sport, other sports provide the same, but not quite like football does.
Right.
I just am a big believer in the life lessons that this sport leads to, not to mention at Bishop Dwenger High School, the spiritual lessons that are learned along the way as well.
Dickerson's going to roll out on 3rd and 11, trying to escape the pressure, looking to the far sideline, sidesteps one defender, and is tackled back at the original line of scrimmage. We're ticking down to inside 2 minutes to go, and Corey, I would take that a step further, and I would say not only does that apply to the other 321 teams, but those 6 teams that hold up the trophy. I mean, you look back at Bishop Dwenger 2 years ago when they were 4A champs, and their mantra that season was trust, unity, and toughness, and I don't know any team that was able to experience and define those 3 qualities more so than that Bishop Dwenger Saints squad.
6 overtimes.
4,
excuse me. It seems like
it
6.
felt like
6. Yeah, we were there all day. 4 overtimes, and pretty amazing stuff. So, we'll talk about the Saints. We're talking about the trophy. Let's talk about the Saints in the North. I mean, we may have mentioned it in the pregame. They, according to Sagarin rankings, the Saints are the top-rated team in the northern half of the 5A. They, for all intents and purposes, I hate to put pressure on them, but the 5A North is Bishop Dwenger Saints to lose, in my opinion.
It is. It is. If they are able to take care of business, they will be favored in every football game all the way up to Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yep.
Which, of course, if they were fortunate enough to make it there, they would definitely not be favored in that matchup against Cathedral.
Yeah, Cathedral might be the best, or second best team. They were beat by Center Grove, who's probably the best team in the state in any class.
And by 4 points. I mean, that was a coin flip game.
But Cathedral looks like the real deal in 5A and might very well be the second best team in the state regardless of class. So that would be a tall order, but not, it's not David versus Goliath like this particular game has been tonight.
Armstrong's going to tuck it and run on the first play for Anderson, and this is going to end up being the final play of the game. He takes it up to the 20-yard line, and there is the final buzzer. Bishop Dwenger is going to walk out of here with a 42-6 victory in sectional semifinal action over the Anderson Indians, and the Saints advance to the sectional championship next week, and it sounds like it will most likely be against the Legends of Northside.
Yeah, sounds like they were firmly in control of that game, and it's kind of what we expected, I think.
Yeah.
And, they'll be coming in here and looking forward to an opportunity at redemption here to avenge that regular season loss. So.
Yep. We will step aside here at the end of this ball game. 42-6 is your final once again. Saints victorious over the Anderson Indians. And after this break, we'll be back to wrap things up from Shields Field. You're listening to High School Football on RedeemerRadio.com.
Mike Lay with Knights of Columbus Insurance has been humbly serving Catholic families in Northeast Indiana since 2013.
You can do like 2 minutes here to try to fit in some of these breaks.
Catholic company serving Catholic families since its founding by Venerable Father Michael J. McGivney in 1882. Does your insurance company invest in a way that complements your religious beliefs? Are they pro-life,